I just think it's nice when someone from the audience does.
Absolutely.
It's on our website, but I don't have any printed copy. And I'll scroll down as the agenda moves on.
on my
Well,
own.
In
Good
loud and
idea.
clear.
Good idea.
And it's like out the second story window lately.
Like the toilet was gone. They didn't.
Years ago, Dave Lowe used to call someone in advance before a meeting, because I remember coming in just to put.
Do that.
Yeah, it took me a minute.
I think we ought to have somebody from.
What?
What?
Got it.
These are new people. I don't know who they are. Okay, we ready, Ryan? Microphones? Good job. Welcome, everyone. This is the Providence City Council meeting. It's Wednesday, May 21st, 2025, and we'll get going. We have an attendance tonight, Jeff Nebeker on this end.
Me.
That's bad. Gosh.
Even announced
Oh.
it'd be in vain anyway.
Janelle Seeley, Carrie Kirk, and David Coons, and I'm Kathleen Alder. I'm the mayor for now. We'll have a pledge of allegiance. Would you all stand? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I've asked Hal Hansen if he would give us an opening prayer, and he, yes, please, so that the people online can hear.
Our gracious Heavenly Father, we, a few of the citizens as well as the leaders of our wonderful city, Providence, come together this night for this Providence City Council meeting and ask that thy Spirit will be with us as things are discussed. Things will be discussed openly and civilly, and that decisions will be made that will be in the best interests of all involved in our wonderful city. We're so grateful to be part of this community. Help us to do the things that we need to do to improve our community and make it better for everyone. We thank thee for the guidance and direction that we receive and pray for these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Hal. Okay, council reports. Jeff?
Just answering citizens' emails, met with Ryan, went through the agenda. Not much.
Okay.
That's that.
Brent?
So I got involved in a few things, and I was really appreciative that we tabled a few things last meeting, because it really gave me a chance to study them in depth. And so I was very interested in the possibility of leasing dark fiber, and I really feel like I got educated with that. I also took a very close look at one of the proposed rezones, and I think I've got well educated with that proposed rezone. But also I have dealt with the emergency preparedness. The emergency preparedness presentation this month didn't go too well from their end. But one thing that did come out of it, excuse me, was a website. It's called BeReadyUtah.gov. And, you know, we could be sitting here tonight and have an earthquake, and you'd be wondering where your family is and what happened to them and where your kids are. Have you a plan? Do you know or have a plan for your family tonight? It could be that serious. It could happen. So Be Ready Utah.gov is one for families and businesses to take a look at their situation and prepare. And I would encourage not only those here in the audience, but any that are listening to us, that they take a look at that website and think about what could happen. When you look across our nation, lots of things are happening. We're kind of being spared right here, but things can happen here as well. So anyway, please take a look at that. I spent quite a bit of time with Ryan talking about bike lanes. I went over and looked at the new bike lane on 5th North in Logan, been down to Nibley and looked at their bike lane on 12th West, and looked at our bike lanes in our city and had quite a discussion with Ryan about bike lanes in regards to the new legislation that people could receive a fine for parking a car in a bike lane. I also met with Ryan regarding our cemetery. I've wondered how the perpetual care of the cemetery works and how the cemetery is being funded at the present time. And also went to the cemetery and talked with Shane about the number of trees that we've lost. We lost 5 trees during that. I guess it was a microburst out there, and looks like possibly 2 others might have to come out. And so our cemetery is beautiful, well kept. My wife and I went to cemeteries today, 3 cemeteries today, one of them being Providence, and we were so pleased at how well our cemetery is being maintained. But anyway, we appreciate the cemetery people, the way it's being maintained. And like I say, I talked with Ryan about the budget of the cemetery, and so that'll be discussed a little later tonight, but that's my report.
Thank you. Gina?
I have a few things. First, I wanted to just thank the staff for working on the roundabout and cleaning up and just, I don't know, they do a lot of stuff, but our city looks really nice and I appreciate all the things that they do. I met with Ryan. We've discussed fiber quite a bit in the last few weeks. We did go down to Lehigh and met with, I'm not really sure what to call that group. I was trying to figure out what to call them. The Fiber City Group meeting.
The municipal
It's a
fiber group.
municipal fiber co-op where we all kind of get together and discuss best practices. Cameron Dill, the director of the Utah League of Cities and Towns, was in attendance at that meeting, and he gave us, I think, a good update on the legislative undercurrents towards municipal broadband and fee structures and things like that. So I thought that was helpful, and we got a lot of feedback on some of our questions from other cities. I just think that it's pretty awesome that we have a citywide fiber system, and I think we've had a great first year with a fully constructed, completed system, and I look forward to the growth that is to come as we help educate our friends and neighbors and help them get the best possible service and bang for their buck. I still think it's pretty remarkable that we can get probably 3 times the quality of service that we had for the same price. So I think it was a great project that we took on for our city. I've been meeting with the South Cache Communities That Care. They have an event coming up June 23rd at the Nibley City Building. So they are working on prevention work for teenagers, specifically middle school and high school aged youth. And they want to have some feedback from the youth. And so they're not above bribery. They're having pizza and a soda bar from 11 to 12:30 and from 4:30 to 6 on the 23rd of June. It's a Monday. So when your kids are all home from school and you need them to like go have something to do, send them to get lunch at Nibley City Hall and give their input on what kind of prevention work and support that they need. From the health department and the community coalition. So that's the 23rd, and I think the city's going to put the flyer up to remind people on social media. We've had meetings with the library, with the county, with River Heights City, and we're leaning towards doing a standard lease agreement with the library, with the county. That's what we're working towards. Also, the library has a ton of fun activities that they're doing and programming that they're doing. They have their summer reading kickoff on the 2nd of June from 4 to 6. And they have a plant and seed swap on the 7th of June from 12 to 2. And they're also doing on Wednesdays and Thursdays through the whole summer, they're doing story time at 1:30 for like the little kids. And they're also doing like an art project for like 8 to 17 every Wednesday and Thursday through the whole summer. So
8 to 17.
8 to 17. So, and then they have a bunch of other adult programs. They have, just walk in and go. You don't have to sign up.
To our library.
Yeah, to the Cache County Library here on Main Street. And they have some adult programs that they're going to do. Some like, you can get on the Cache County website and look at their library. They have gardening things. They have like crocheting things, poetry nights, book clubs, just a bunch of different programs. So go check that out. There's lots of things to kind of fill in your summer with. I spoke with one of our residents who is working with the school district on boundary line adjustments as they are building the schools that had been bonded for. And she relayed to me how difficult it is to follow through with the bond commitment to have dedicated feeder schools because of the growth that's happening in this area of the valley. She said Ridgeline High School is at capacity, and the district is going to remove school choice.
Just close the door.
Oh, yeah.
They are
Stand at the canyon.
They are
close it
going to
off.
remove school choice from Ridgeline High School. So you're not in the boundaries for Ridgeline. You're out of luck. But because of the way that the districts are laid out within the county, we have this interesting little donut situation. How North Logan has bused all of their middle schoolers to Spring Creek. If the growth continues, it could push people on the north end here towards Green Canyon. So I thought that was interesting feedback. I do think that it is an interesting dynamic between property taxes and the school district and their funding, the way they plan for buildings and growth, the way the state pushes growth. And there's just a lot of moving parts. So I don't think there's a simple solution to the problem, but that's something to keep in mind and think of.
If people in the room have feedback or want to talk to someone, do you have a place that they can go to do that?
The
or
school
to
board.
give? Okay.
Go to the school board. They get 70% of your property taxes. And if you want them to plan better, if you want them to build better, go talk to them. They get 70% of your property taxes. And their meetings are sparse. Are they sparsely attended?
Yes,
They're sparsely
I think
attended.
it's the only one there.
Yeah.
So.
And then I listened to Legislative Policy Committee this afternoon for the interim session with the legislature. They have, they said what they're really working on is to get the governor's state housing plan completed by December. The public draft should be available in October. But they have 5 work groups working on homelessness, subsidized affordable housing, market rate housing, rural and resort communities, and infrastructure. And all of those groups kind of focus on different things as far as like bonding or infrastructure or zoning, planning, education, different things to try and have a systemic approach to housing, which I think is good, to try and see all the moving pieces and make a plan that addresses all of the moving pieces. But they have 140 tactics that they're addressing in the state housing plan. So brace yourselves. I just look at Scarlett and she's just like, ugh.
And we told them to quit making changes.
I
Just
know.
let us do what
Just
they
let
ask us to do
figure it
before.
out. Yeah. Anyway, lots going on. That's kind of what I've been working on.
Great. Thank you. Carrie?
Have you been busy?
Okay, Janelle's always busy. I don't know where we'd be without her. For my report, the youth council applications are currently open. They officially close at the end of May, but I just sent an email today extending them to June 15th. But if you know any amazing youth that live in Providence, this is a really great resume building opportunity and service opportunity, and not too time consuming, like one project or event a month, including a dance on Saturday, June 6th. They're inviting everyone who is 8th through 12th grade, and we've tried a few different venues. This time we're actually going to go to the church building right east of Ridgeline. They've got a big pavilion and filled, so we have an indoor-outdoor option as needed, and we can kind of have the dancing under the pavilion, but still have some yard games and stuff. So we're going to give that venue a shot. I could use help chaperoning. So it's super fun to be fun.
It's June 6th.
It's June 6th. If you want to come and chaperone, it's a Saturday night. We didn't want to, is it the 7th? Crap, I wrote the date down wrong. It's the 7th, whatever the Saturday is. Word is getting out. The youth are getting it out. Also, I'll be inviting the youth council to the Cities That Care event and having at least a few of them to commit to going and representing Providence. I went to the Cache Valley Mayor's dinner, and Mayor was out of town. They had a really interesting presentation. There's a campaign that's catching on in the state of Utah, and many of the cities are promoting it. You can look it up. It's called, their website is realday.org. Like, let's have a real day instead of being online that day. And so one day a month, which realday.org is promoting the first of every month, just the first day of the month, just turn off all social media and have a real day, and you can post about it the next day. But it's a campaign that's catching on throughout the state. So you'll probably be seeing billboards shortly and other things promoting this real day. Ryan and I met with the Nibley City officials and talked about the possibility of a South Valley Rec Center. So I know there's strong feelings about this and a lot of people in favor of a rec center, a lot of interest. I'm hoping that Nibley will continue to carry the torch on that. If the county chooses not to take over and make that happen, I would like to see it eventually go to the voters and not us decide for everyone. I'd like to see the voters decide that. I attended the sauerkraut meeting, and they're here to present today. So I don't want to steal Nicole's thunder, but there are 2 new events that I'm super excited about, and she will share. Also, when I met with Ryan this month, one of the things we discussed was getting help for those who are still interested in getting on fiber and not figuring it out, just not really sure how to do it. So they just stay where they are. So I've reached out to the USU Business Marketing Department to see if we could get a paid intern here to help with some marketing. So if you know someone that's looking for an internship in marketing, we could use some help with educating people on how to take that last step to get on to fiber. And then on a personal note, I bring this up at city council meeting because I talked about city council in this. Yesterday, there was a podcast released that I was interviewed on that might be fun for some people to listen to. It's called Arise with Christ, and it is about service and caring for one another. So the podcast episode is Caring for One Another with Carrie Kirk. It's a lot of alliteration. But I hope we can all care for each other and be good stewards of our city. And that's my report.
You're busy too.
I've been busy.
You need a permanent podcast, Caring with Carrie or something like that. That'd be great. Well, yeah, I saw all the trees down in the cemetery, which was kind of sad to see, and you could see some of the headstones upheaved, and out of place, and I'm glad it's kind of looking back to normal and
You're going to have to move that a little closer.
looking back to normal
Yeah.
over at the cemetery.
Too much
Good.
traffic noise.
Yeah, it's traffic. And then I saw Brent's headstone over there, and I thought, oh no, nobody told me. Glad you're still here, Brent. I guess we have plots near each other, so
Yeah, my wife
That's,
put it there.
yeah.
She
you're-
got ready. Ready.
she's prepared. So, yeah, I met with Ryan. We discussed some budget items. We talked about fiber. I think we hit most of the agenda items that are on the current agenda for tonight. With Just Serve, we've had a bunch of groups, mostly church groups, reach out about service projects and things that they can do in the area to help beautify the city. We talked about some of those. Some of them reached out to, I think,
Me.
Carrie and the mayor, and who else? Did somebody else? Seems like someone else sent people my way. Anyway, we've been talking at mayor's suggestion. I presented to the council just some of what we'd already suggested and looking for additional ideas. Those generally have centered around park cleanup, canyon cleanup, just some around town stuff. We've assigned some of that out already and looking forward to some of those things getting done.
Just some of the primaries have been reaching out to us, and they've got littles. So if there are things that you know of that little children can just pick up trash and do something fairly simple like that, but learn to give service to their community, that would be awesome.
Yeah, and we've had some in that sort of 13 to 18 range, I guess, too, that have reached out, and so we've done some painting and some projects that are a little bit harder, branch cleanup and stuff like that might be easier for them than children. So we've tried to make it age appropriate as well as needed. So if anyone has ideas too, who might be listening or here today, just reach out to me and we'll put you to work. Not much to report on mosquito abatement. They're starting spraying, but I've got a Board of Trustees meeting tomorrow night, so hopefully will be more info for next meeting. And then just answering some citizen emails, talking to people about different things. So that's really my report.
Great.
Not as busy as some.
Well, we appreciate the work that our council does in the community, getting things done, serving our citizens. That's really what it's all about. I've just been working with our community partners with some of the nonprofits, attending some of their things that they have. And the reason I attend these is that there are leaders from other cities that are there, which gives me an opportunity to have a voice with them and get to know them. We've been talking with our legislators. They're done with the session, but they're getting ready to go into interim sessions, and so just trying to keep them abreast of what's going on in Providence. There's going to be a trail along the Blacksmith Fork River. Been working with UDOT to get that signed off. Working with the Cache Metropolitan Planning Organization and with CMPO, which is all the mayors, for funding opportunities for doing work on the streets and working with the county to see if we can get some of the tax that they've just implemented in the county to go toward our roads, and attending fiber meetings, trying to get people to understand what we do here. We actually have a great fiber system, better than, the rest of the state is jealous about the things that we've been doing and the service that we offer to our citizens. So it's nice to be on top and be ahead of the curve. So the bottom line is we want our community to come together, we want to work together, and we want to make sure that we're providing the types of services that our community needs. We'll close that portion of the meeting.
Yeah. Before you
Yes.
close that, I forgot one thing. I'd like to give a shout out to Ryan and Rob for getting crosswalks on Second West, and I appreciate that very much. It's just out trying to educate the kids to use it. They still cross the same place, but we had a parent show up, and she led the kids in the right direction and through the crosswalk there. I appreciated that. So, yeah, thanks, guys. We appreciate it very much.
The more traffic we get, the more important that becomes. And so we need to train them early. One thing that I have forgotten to mention is the picture that we have on the wall. This picture used to hang in the city building when it was over across the street from the Old Rock Church. But the Astle family has provided that for us. It's a painting that is of our heritage here in Providence. And so we're happy to have that in a place where more people can take a look at it and can enjoy it. So if any of you know the Astle family, it would be nice to say thank you to them for what they've offered to share instead of having it sit in a warehouse someplace. So we'll close that portion of the meeting, and I will entertain a motion on the approval of minutes of the April 23rd, 2025 meeting.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from April 23rd, 2025.
Do we have a motion? Have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. This is a portion of the meeting that we allow people to comment on anything that is not on the agenda. We'll give you 2 minutes each if you would like to come to the microphone, state your name and what you might want to talk about. So Ty, can you time, please?
Good evening. My name is Mimi Racker,
Pull it down.
short person. I want to start by thanking you all for your service. I've sent several emails to the City Council, the Planning Commission, city staff about the Hilldale 18 development up on the northeast corner of Providence, and I haven't gotten any kind of response from anyone. So I thought I would come here tonight to share my concerns and hopefully get some kind of...
I didn't get anything either.
I didn't either.
I noticed that it was in the public one this morning, and I haven't sent it out, but I did see it
Oh,
this
I sent
morning.
it quite a while ago.
I realized that. I
Oh.
checked them before I came in, so I
Okay.
did see it, and I will tell you one update on the water there. Just
Well,
a-
why don't I just say what I
yeah,
have to
you
say?
can say it,
you
and then why don't you check directly with me next time? And you said it in the next one, but let me give you my direct one. I can get a better direct
Okay.
response to you.
Well, that would explain things. But the gist of the email was about this development and issues having to do, first of all, with transportation. The plat that was approved has cul-de-sacs as opposed to egresses, which is what the city staff was recommending. So that further increases the pressure on 400 East, which is the road that I live on. And that road, I think some of you have gone up to look at, is literally 20 feet wide. And I'm sort of guesstimating, I don't know, 150 cars a day on this road that is 20 feet wide, that does not have curb and gutter, does not have sidewalks, and it's an area where children are expected to walk to school. So it's just, to me, not a tenable situation. And I would really like to know what the plans are for upgrading this road to make it a safe minor collector road to capture all the traffic that's coming out of this new subdivision. And of course, further up on the hill, there'll be some traffic coming from there. The second issue has to do with water. The only water supply for the subdivision is from a line at 300 North. And so I'm quoting from the applicant's document. It says, "The existing line is undersized and made from cast iron that is corroding heavily." So the project consists of replacing the main lines and services along 400 East between 100 North and 300 North. This is a capital improvement that is an overall cost of $314,000, so fairly pricey. So as a resident, I receive my drinking water from this apparently heavily corroded cast iron line, and that has serious attendant health concerns. So I really, again, would like to urge the city to replace this line, not in 3 years' time, but now, because we are all drinking water from this corroded line. So I'd also like the city to conduct a test of this water to see to what extent there are leads or any other kind of heavy metal in this water that's coming from this corroded line. So two questions. One is the road widening to make it a minor collector road and safe. And the second is the water issue. Did I get under 2 minutes?
Yeah, and I'm just going to take my 2 minutes on that one because I think
Okay.
I apologize that I didn't get back with you on this one. First one, the water, corroded water, that the primary amount, in fact, most, if not all, was taken care of when we did the second north to first north. And so that's the primary one. The additional water has been asked that the contractor upgrade that line. So that's part of the project. So the water will be taken care of with the project. So
When?
that will, well, when the development comes and that's their first phase. So I think they're coming. I don't know their exact time frame, but the corroding, we haven't had leaking from that block, the very north block, but we did fix and replace the entire water line in Fourth East from there. The road.
Have there been water quality tests from
We
that
have
particular
we take
line?
water quality tests throughout the city. I'll put that on the list and I'll talk
Great,
with Rob.
thank you. I
So,
appreciate that.
yep. So, Road will have to get back with you on. But I just want to talk on water because that's a real critical one. I want to make
Yep.
sure that you can drink your water.
I do too.
We want to make sure of that. So, anyway, but we can get back to you on the road one. I'll get back to you later on that one.
About the,
The road.
okay, so that would be the other question is when in the Providence City plans will this road be improved to handle this substantial increase in traffic?
I'll get you.
Okay.
What
Right,
is
well,
your
I-
address?
My particular address is 280 North, 400 East.
280 North. Okay, thank you.
And I have just forwarded that all to you so that you'll have that. So I apologize. that,
Okay, thank you.
Sorry that you felt like we didn't get back to you because we do like to get back to our citizens.
Well, I know, and I heard in all your reports, I responded to citizens' emails, and I was like,
Thank you for your patience. Okay, anyone else?
My name's Valerie Burns. I've been a resident for about 40 years. And I would just like to say, if we have corroded water, would you please do that really fast? Because I would like to know that, because that is not good for any of our residents. But that's not really why I was here. I do have a concern. I love history and I love trees. And so I saw a lot of green ribbon around some trees that are on the historical district. And I got really kind of like, what is that all about? Are they diseased? And the answer is no. I'm thinking, well, what the heck is going on with our trees? Because the trees are our history. We don't have a museum. We do have the old rock church, but I've lived here long enough to really respect the pioneers and the culture of this place, even though I'm not from here originally. And I would like to thank anybody here from the Daughters of the Utah Pioneer or the PTA, because this affects them as well. This is a historical issue because you guys want to remove these trees. And I've lived here long
No.
enough.
No, we
You
don't.
We don't want
Move the
no,
trees.
not at
No.
all.
Okay, you want to move the sidewalk so that you kill the roots of the tree?
No.
So educate me. But don't take away my 2 minutes. Okay, let me just say, and then can you please educate me? Because I am concerned about the trees. And I did do some research. I like to research, and I'd like to read this. This is written by the member of the Providence Historical Society. And it says, quote, in accordance with Code 23-2-3-3, Commission duties and power, the Providence Historical Commission understands the history of the Providence trees and the historical effort they have on the early settlers and the meaning of the word history. Thus, it is our input and our advice that the street trees and the sidewalk should not be damaged or removed within the historical district. So that's an official statement that they made. And I am just concerned that you are going to take these trees down when they don't really need to be if they're not diseased. And there's another alternative that you can put a sidewalk. This is what I'm understanding. You put the sidewalk on the other side of the tree so you don't wreck the roots. And you keep our history. Those trees are 100 years old. And you got a picture right there, and there's trees right there. The trees are important to a lot of people. Trees are not trees. They're not just trees. There's a lot of history behind the trees. And I like trees. I plant trees every time I can. I don't know how many planted in my yard in Providence. But anyway, I do remember a short time ago when Kathy Baker, wasn't a short time, it was a long time ago. Kathy Baker was a who has passed away now, had an issue on Main Street where I happened to be renting a house for 10 years. And the city wanted to take down her beautiful pines. And so she talked to you guys, and the city changed their mind. And those pines exist today. The sidewalk was put on the other side of the pines. It didn't have to be put on the side that the city wanted to. So all I'm asking is, from the little history that I've done, is there really is a different idea that you don't have to cut the trees down. You can put that sidewalk on the other side, because of my understanding, there's room, and it's safe for the children, and it provides a lot of not only history but shade and all the stuff for the environment that trees do. So please consider that, because there is another alternative. Okay, thank you. That's all I have. So what did you say? You're not going to take them down?
So I'll just give a slight update.
Thank you.
The council and the council instructed that we get a arborist and we have an environmentalist and an engineer working on together on trying to identify what it is. When those reports are complete, they'll be brought back to the council. Before any project proceeds, the council will determine whether that design is in line with their wishes, and the initial design from the engineer, which is a worst case, did indicate that there might be a need to remove. But there's options and possibilities out there that we're investigating to try. There's no desire from this body, nor has it been shared that there's a desire to remove trees. But there is a desire for a sidewalk and a walkable community, and that's the ultimate goal. So when those items and that report is done, that'll be brought back, and I believe they're going to have a hearing to visit and talk about it at that point, if that's
Right. We are.
so.
Well, all I can say to that is that's great. From my understanding, the trees aren't diseased. If you if you put the sidewalk on that one side where the roots are, you're going to destroy the trees, which will kill them. And there's room on the other side. So
I'd be happy to visit with you in great detail on it if you'd like to come in, because there's a lot more detail than we can go through in this meeting. But I'd love to.
well, just so y'all hear it, and it's on record, that you have you have the PTA. I have people from the Daughters of the Pioneer, because this is a historical issue. It's not just cut some trees down. It's the history of Providence.
That's why
trying
we're getting the research done.
We totally get that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. We'll close that portion of the meeting and we'll go on with the next item number 2, Sauerkraut Days presentation. We have our wonderful volunteer, Nicole Bone. Volunteers.
Well, I have to say, I love the new edition. I love that picture, and I also love Providence. And my ancestors helped settle Providence, so I'm very grateful for this. And change is hard, darn it, sometimes, but things have to change and move forward, and sometimes things happen in the city that, anyway, love it here. And I'm so grateful
We do
for
too.
all of you. Yep, for sure. I'm so grateful for the city council, Ryan Snow, Scarlett, just everyone, for all the support we've received the last 4 years of doing this. We're going into our 4th year doing this, and I am thrilled. My heart's just pounding, so I get so excited about this to share. With me, I have John and Savannah representing both. I know they're pretty amazing. And I'm going to explain what they'll be talking about tonight. So first of all, it's the 3rd week in August. As always, August 15th and August 16th are our main dates. With that being said, we have our ongoing Find the Can, August 11th through the 16th. This year, Jeanette and actually Savannah's mother, Amy, will be doing 2 cans this year instead of just the one. We have got such an awesome reviews. Just everybody just loves Find the Can, so we're doing two this year. And this year we're doing the Grand Marshal a little bit different. We are asking for nominations this year. We want people to nominate someone here in the city and why they want to nominate that person as the Grand Marshal. It'll all be through Providence City Sauerkraut Days, so they'll email us and we'll start advertising for that soon.
Okay.
let's see, let's move to Friday really quick because some things are a little bit tentative on the schedule here. Friday, August 15th, we have our parade at 5 p.m. Again, Kathy Griffiths is over that. Park activities, we have the craft table again from Megan Ted Erickson. Cabbage Patch Kids Market was a huge hit last year, and Elise Crockett is over that this year. I'm loving, we have so many, and I wanted to also say, as always, to people that are listening online, everyone is welcome to join. We want as many citizens as we can involved, and this year has been incredible with new additions to our committee, and I'm thrilled with that. So food trucks on Friday will all be dessert. Our only food vendor that evening will be John Booth has stepped up, and the Ridgeline High School Booster Club. So it'll be a fundraiser for Ridgeline, but also our local John Booth will be doing that and facilitating that. He will be hosting. He is not worried about crowds. That man can serve thousands, so he's not worried about the line. He will be doing hamburgers, brats, kraut, both evenings, Friday and Saturday. He'll be there with the Booster Club, and we will be providing the sauerkraut for that. So, anyway, it's news to him. We'll chat about that. And then we have Zany Zoo coming again. That's always a hit.
Okay.
We will have a live band or music playing throughout. Hopefully, we can have a live band starting when people arrive after the parade. So we'll have some music going. This year, the new addition is we have a miniature golf course coming to be set up. I have spoke to them and also spoke to our awesome city manager, Ryan Snow. And I think we're going to host it inside the tennis courts because the bottom of this mini golf course it doesn't scratch. It's, well, yes. I think we're good. I'm just looking at it like, okay, well, hopefully approved. No, I think we're good. And it's a fun addition. It's new to the Valley and it's going to be great. So we'll be having them come. So the Providence Historic Preservation, I'm hoping that they possibly can have a booth of some sort set up that evening as well on Friday to advertise for the historic tour. I also think it's very important, along with all the history and that of Providence City, to have that available both days for people to understand our awesome heritage and be able to learn why we do what we do and all that. So I'm hoping they'll have a booth there. Okay, so I want to do, well, let me mention the last thing. We have Movie in the Park, 9 p.m. roughly. Carrie Kirk is over that with the city council. We'll be playing Sandlot, and Next Meters, our amazing main sponsor, will be donating the cups and straws and all that for a soda bar. Now going back to page 1, I apologize. We're doing something different this year. We have a couple new events. The first one being Prov's Got Talent. We are super excited about this. We have a Providence native as well here tonight. She's maiden name is Lenhart, so she's a part of the awesome Lenhart family. Her dad has businesses locally. He's from here and also is the owner of Lionheart Hall, which will be donating things for stage equipment that evening. So we're super excited about that. And I'm going to let Savannah give a little cute spiel if she wants about Prov's Got Talent and where we're going with that for a minute.
Hi, I am so excited to be here. I'm really excited to be involved. I'm hoping to be Nicole Jr. Her job.
We
one
love
day.
it. Thank you.
Yes, so Prov's Got Talent. We have some amazing talent in the city. I grew up here and now I'm back and really excited to host this event. We're gonna have posters popping up around Providence that have instructions on how to send in your audition. So if you or someone you know has a really cool talent to show, it's a 1-minute clip to that email, provsgottalent, no punctuation or anything, at gmail.com. And that'll be on the poster as well. But we're really excited. And if anybody knows a talented Providence resident that wants to play a live set during that arrival time or participate in Prov's Got Talent, send an email to that email address, and we will vet through all of those, and there's a chance to perform at Sauerkraut Days on Friday night. So we'll have a live stage to show off some of those really cool talents.
Awesome.
She's incredible. We are super happy to have her as the committee chair over this. So, and she also she has a live band and sings and performs. So she will be doing that during Sauerkraut Days as well. Right? Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure. So I will move on to Saturday, but quickly I wanted to introduce, or you guys already know, Incredible John here. So we'll have him come up here again and kind of talk about what we need to do for before Sauerkraut Days as far as prepping. Hopefully she'll come again. I recognize her or wish you cut the cabbage last year. I remember, and John. Mayor Drew. Oh yeah, he was there too. And Brent. So hopefully, and you were there too. Okay, so go ahead.
Well, hello, council members. I appreciate a chance to come and talk about my talent, by accident found, thanks to Nicole's invitation 4 years ago, making sauerkraut. So I don't think I will be attending the talent show to make sauerkraut, but apparently that's something we're able to do well enough to contribute to Providence City Sauerkraut Days. It's quite the process. It's grown every year in terms of demand. In fact, every year we have underproduced and had to limit. And so we are continuing to try and work to grow our production and manufacturing side, including doing multiple big batches leading up to the event as opposed to just one big one. So actually on Sunday, we're starting 350 pounds of sauerkraut, and we'll continue to do small batches every week leading up to the event to get prepared for it. However, the big event that I would like to talk about is sort of the open house community cabbage beating. It's a great rage room of cabbage assault for 8 or 9 hours. Last year, we produced almost 900 pounds of sauerkraut in the 9 hours that the group of, I think, 12 or 13 people. It's really a process of scaling, so the more people, the better in terms of producing sauerkraut. And it is quite the process. It's something to behold to see that many pounds of cabbage in one place and shredding, and the dance and symphony of the process is something that last year was kind of fun to see. So we'd like to replicate that again this year to continue to grow the output. Last year we sold 900 of these jars in about 6 hours and continued to sell over the next 4 or 5 months. Demand has kept up. In fact, I'm dropping several jars off today, so some folks can come in this week to the city office and pick some up. So in terms of demand and needing to produce more, it would be really wonderful to have another group event where either council members or members of the community can share something that has been a long-standing tradition in this community, which is gathering and taking out your aggression on cabbage for a day. So the date for this is still up in the air. We're looking at sometime end of June, potentially early July. It takes about 4 to 5 weeks for the cabbage to be complete and ready to go. So with the date of the 3rd week of August, that gives us a little bit of leeway when we start this big event. So we'll probably try and see and engage interested members to see when the most amount of people can attend this, and we'll pick a weekend to do that. Saturday is probably going to be the day that we end up coming in and start sometime in
And this is at Bridgerland, right?
Correct.
That's where
yes.
you're doing it.
We're working on right now of expanding to where we can ferment, so we can do slightly larger volume at that place. So I hope to have that settled by the time we come in, but Bridgerland will be the ground zero for most of this action.
Good.
Yeah.
Are you interested in having people under the age of 18? Like if the youth council could come and take a 2-hour shift, is that something you're interested in, or no?
We can have kids of all ages. Well, not all ages, but anyone that's able to be in the
14
kitchen.
to
Yeah.
18 would be the youth council.
Yeah. What we did last year is we had a quick 15-minute safety introduction on the process and food handling procedures. But food handling is not that complicated, so everybody is able to really do it pretty well. And the nice thing about sauerkraut is you're pretty forgiving when it comes to that process of acidifying, which is the kind of the point of sauerkraut. So yeah, we could have, I think 14 would be fine for that.
Okay.
And they're usually very enthusiastic.
Great. We need to keep that tradition up of getting the whole citizenry involved. That's the point of this whole thing, is getting people together. So
So will you
Right.
have like some kind of way for people to commit to coming to help with sauerkraut, so you have an idea on the numbers and the hours?
Yeah, I assume Nicole will have a call to action once we have a date in mind. Or if we have people already interested, we can start that sign up process as soon as we need to.
And I know last year was a little bit last, like
You might have to talk into Mike so people who are listening online can hear.
Okay, so last year, I think we'll be able to narrow it down maybe in the next few weeks, the exact date, time, location, all of that. And then at that point, we can forward that out.
send it out on social
Yeah.
media.
Mhm.
Yeah, if there's enough citizens who are interested, great. But if there's gaps, the youth council is great at filling gaps, and they are enthusiastic and they are awesome.
That would be wonderful. Okay, yeah.
In times past, when we did it in barrels, we come in shifts. You get an early shift, it'd come in, they'd start. Others would come later at a later period of time, because it gets a little tiring tamping and the things that
Yeah.
need to be done. And so maybe if we get enough volunteers, we could work some shifts in.
You know,
So
Brent,
that-
I like that idea. When you were mentioning youth council, I thought, oh,
Well, and
imagining this
when
room
I
just
said
way too.
youth council, I was thinking I would put them in 2-hour shifts. I would not ask the
Ah.
youth to do an 8-hour shift of cabbage. It would take the fun out of it. Like
Well,
they're
last year-
enthusiastic for the first hour and a half.
And the space isn't huge, so I don't think we want more than 20 in that space. So that's pushing it.
20 at a time.
Last year we had 12 or 13, and that was a pretty good volume of working at one time. We could dial it up a little bit if we needed to, but shift work would be great. And that certainly helps the body acclimate to the process.
Yeah, I like that.
Would
That
it
be
work to
great.
do the sign up like we do Easter egg? Maybe?
Yeah.
Shifts?
Well, Nicole will work on a sign up process
Yeah.
for shift.
Yes, I will. Do
And
that
I can
for
help if you want.
Okay. sure. I know.
And if we get enough people that we could do this in 2 stages, we can certainly do 2 big batches and see where we go from there.
So you have the capacity to do that.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm working on, in the past, we've done 5-gallon buckets and a lot of them. That's just the ferment space that we have. And we've worked on some of the procedural process of getting up to 30-gallon buckets in space that we have available now. So it's just big enough that we can still reach in and get the cabbage out of it without having to go swimming.
And what John's failing to mention is how successful he's been with sauerkraut now. He wins awards for this all over with his Bear River Bottling Company and has several different kinds. I don't know what awards you've won recently, but I know he's downplaying himself just a little. But this has opened a lot of doors for him.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. It was dumb luck that we stumbled into a recipe that really worked, which is kind of fun because originally one of my business partners, Taylor Miles, his great-great-grandmother was on the first round of people that did Providence City sauerkraut 100 some years ago. So it's a really interesting circle that just randomly happened. But yeah, we do lots of national hot sauce and barbecue sauce shows across the country, and judged food contests that we submit to, and our sauerkraut has taken gold medals in 2 of the largest nations judged food contests. So it's apparently good, which kind of surprises me, given I had never made it before Nicole asked me to. So thank you.
Well, we're proud to call you a citizen of Providence.
Exactly. We are really fortunate to have this. It's been years that I know of, since 2014 possibly, that the city has been able to do this. So this is a huge thing for our city to be able to have John. So we're thrilled.
It was a no-brainer for us. We really relish the opportunity to give back to the community.
That's great. Thank you.
I would say this, it's interesting. My family has made sauerkraut from as long as I can remember. And I'm 81 years old soon. And they've had sauerkraut. My family ate the gourmet. They said, throw the rest away. Let's eat the gourmet. They love the gourmet. Now, I still like the jalapeno in it and a little bite to it. But they said, oh, no, the gourmet is so much better. There you go, see?
It's that Carol seed that he's sticking in there. It's the Carol seed.
Well, we appreciate your support. We appreciate being able to have you provide the sauerkraut for us. It's wonderful.
Stinky job, but somebody's got to do it, and we're happy to. So thank you.
That's good.
So we are going to go move to Saturday's events here. So in the past, we've offered a breakfast just because that's what you do at city celebrations. We've come to find out that it's just getting people, just something to get people together. So we have opted to do breakfast trucks that morning, starting at 7 a.m. to about 10 a.m. We'll just offer maybe even just probably two breakfast trucks will be there. Soul Fitness workout is a possibility. They'll be doing a workout that morning. We'll have pickleball starting at 8 a.m. We have a new volunteer committee for that, Holly and Casey Egley, that will be doing that. The fun run will begin at 7 a.m. With Carrie and James Swink still doing that. And Janelle Seeley on the city council, she is going to be helping with that. Live or recorded music will be playing all day. We have a phenomenal, Derek Clausen is over that. We do have a stage that we've located from a Providence City resident that's volunteering their flatbed trailer, really nice steel flatbed trailer that will be volunteering that. So vendors all day. This is something that we are not limiting this year. Vendors will be located on the west side. I don't know if you remember the first year we had them all in that field. They'll be basically going from the north side of the kickball field to the south, all the way on that west side, mainly because it just brings more people. Vendors bring more people. It's visible from that main road. People will see that there's something going on at our park. And also, we want to tie in the skate park more. We want that to be an attraction as well. So that'll be the vendors all day. We are not taking a break during the day. There will be stuff going on all day long. Bingo will go from 11 until 1. And I'm wondering if the youth council could maybe take that on.
Bingo?
Maybe,
Done.
yes, with some parents. I
Done.
think that would be super fun for them.
It would be.
Okay, so bingo for, and then a historic tour and information station, noon to 2. George Wooten will be overseeing that and his committee. We're hoping to get the Logan Transit as well this year. And
We need to talk about that.
okay, if not, we'll do some 14-seater vans. I don't know. We'll do
I've
something.
talked with Todd Butler. You and I need to talk about that.
Okay. And then skate park events. We're still kind of working on a committee there. So, and morning and early afternoon, I'm hoping that we can get a show going, possibly some pros there to show some neat things for the kids to learn and do. And then food trucks available from 11, like not the breakfast trucks, but actual lunch will be available from 11 until 10-ish. Food and dessert options. We are opening it up to more food options besides just the brats and hamburgers. That's just for Friday. Saturday will be all sorts of food trucks. And then the baseball game. Shaler Gunnell is over that. And then we have the drone show again, sponsored by Next Meters, our main sponsor. And I think there's one more option that we possibly are doing is the art show, the chalk art show. So I'm hoping that we can get that pulled together as well. So, and again, I want to thank Megan with the city. She is a huge part in this as well. Mayor Alder, our city manager, Ryan Snow, the city council, Shaler, Shane, Austin, and the Providence City staff for all your support. So it's going to be a great year. I think that
You're awesome, Nicole.
questions, yeah. Oh, one more thing. We really want the city council to be involved. So David and Brent and Jeff, if we can get you kind of on board with something to help facilitate whatever you guys can do, that'd be awesome. So I've already got these two assigned a job, so that'd be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
We love your enthusiasm. We love willingness to help us with this.
And anybody
And-
here that wants to join the fun.
Yes, it is fun. It's great. It's very rewarding to see it come together and bring lots of people to the table. If nothing else, please commit to coming to the
Yes.
event and bring all your neighbors.
Or those of you online, any talent you've got.
Yes,
Bring 'em to
we
the
do have
table.
a lot of talent in Providence. So thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
Anything else we can do, let us know.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Item number 3 is the public hearing that we need to have on our fiscal year budget, the fiscal year 2026. And so we will take comments and questions. Ryan, do you want to present first?
If I can present first.
Yes.
And then we can take it. So at this point, keep in mind that part of the process up to this point is collecting information from our department heads. We take information from various staff. We also take into account our general plan and our various master plans. And we consolidate and build a tentative budget. This is the opening of that process and not the closing of that process. So I just want people to understand what the tentative budget is. This is opening just the draft and present the initial. We choose to take a public hearing at the tentative, and then we'll take a public hearing at the final. So we'll open this up for 30 days, and then at the end of 30 days, we'll have our next council meeting, and at that point, then we would present the final budget. We'll take a public hearing again on it, and then you would adopt that with any modifications you want. So that's where this tentative starts. So really, it's the start of a 30-day. It's kind of opening up, adopting this as the introductory period. So. Just as I show through here, just want to kind of give some highlights. I am a Excel junkie. So if you know me, I love Excel and I'm an Excel junkie. I have taken the approach this year of a more narrative approach, and so I'm hoping that it is helpful to the public. So to go through a part of that narrative here with you. So we have the table of contents and several different items in it. So at this point, we have no property tax proposed to increase this year. We have a significant portion of our budget is allocated to maintaining and upgrading the city infrastructure. We're looking to acquire property for a new park and upgrade to the Hillcrest Park, continue to upgrade and expand our fiber, and expand the sewer outline, outfall to Logan. We also have water upgrades, including our meters and various things. So this is if you want a summary, this is kind of a short modified summary of the executive summary. So I write that letter to both the council and the public. And then I include a history of Providence and list a link here in order to go to that and get more detail on our history. I've highlighted our strategic goals and strategies. You'll see those. One of our staff goals and my personal goal is to help the council, the public, and the boards and commissions to understand more of the sense of the strategic goals and strategies. And so anyway, I've listed those, pulled these out of the general plan so that it shows that we are focused. The budget is directly focused off that. So anyway, you'll see those here, and everything kind of ties back. That is a founding piece of our budget. So then we have a link to all the various master plans, so that it's a quick link. So if you have interest and would like to see that, Then just kind of overview of the budget. In the state of Utah, we're required to have a balanced budget for our general fund. So you'll see that we do that. We have a balanced budget at the end of each year. We have projected that we'll continue at our current projection, being able to have some. But as we get to each of those forecasted years, they will become balanced budgets. The excess revenue goes into the capital projects fund, which funds a lot of the projects we do throughout the city, parks, recreation, and things like that. You'll also see we have each of our different enterprise funds located down here. And I'll just scroll over here. So water, we expect to have a net income, a net change in position. We call it, but it's often called net income in common terms. Sewer, we also have stormwater. We're having that. So garbage and recycle, which is new for us, fairly new, and we're continuing that. It continues to grow and be a very beneficial to our community, and then fiber does as well. You'll see that we anticipate year over year to be able to build our reserves. Those reserves are spent for construction projects and various things, and then as we build them, then we go into depreciation. So anyway, so that is kind of the general one, highlights the individual funds in which we're making and how much they are. We have a 5-year budget model and forecast. So not only do we keep the current year budget the next year, but we have 4 years of forecast numbers.
That's very helpful. Thank you
So,
for forecasting.
I have also listed, and I encourage the council, and the public to review this. Sorry, I'm just not sure if I have an echo or not. So, anyway, the accomplishments, we have had significant accomplishments in this last year. Zollinger Park, the Uptown Park, the Alma Lenhart Park, Brager Park, the playground that we have there, the skate park, the community compliance officer. We took on waste management. We've expanded our fiber. We've upgraded our water meters. We've put in a camera system, a security camera system at all our parks. We've got a new vac truck, a new sewer lift station. All of those are projects that we completed in this past year, year to date. And then we list accomplishments for the last 5 years.
We've got some conversation going on in the back. Could you? Thanks.
Thank you. So then you can look over the 5-year accomplishments in various spots that we have. We'll come back. Compensation will have its own public hearing at the June meeting. So we'll kind of glaze over that at this meeting because we'll have its own public hearing in June. So the organizational charts included, and the fund one here is how each of these different funds connect, and how the enterprise fund versus the governmental fund. Governmental fund is primarily funded by property tax and sales tax. An enterprise fund is funded by charge for services. So you can see how they link and which departments we have. And so anyway. And I'll skip through. There's a lot of data. I tried to keep it under 75 pages, and at 63, I was feeling pretty good that I kept it brief. So,
good job, Brian.
so then I have included fund balance and net position, so you can see how we change year to year in these business units. So we have a business unit for each one of these, and showing, what that balance of value of the business unit is. this isn't our cash balance. This is the value of the business unit. So anyway, I'll keep plugging away. Sales tax, I have a projection. I keep a projection for the last 15 years of sales tax and where it's at. You can see in this last year we had a little bit softening in the last year, but so anyway, we see that we plan accordingly, and so anyway, significant non-reoccurring. We have planned construction and capital improvements. I list those out here, but I also have a spot down in the appendix that shows in a table format all of the different projects. So long range goals. Debt, it's interesting to show we have 2 debt items here. We have fiber and water, and you can see the length of those loans and when we expect to get them paid off, and how quickly we retire that debt. At this point, our fiber is at a 3% and our water is at a 1.5% interest. So we have a very low interest rate comparatively to 3% at current. For the fiber, it's 2.06% over the life, but a 3% current year, but just over 2% over the life of the loan. So pretty low interest rates. We have our staffing. I just want to get down to the, and I have a glossary. I've tried to include a glossary if any of these terms are new in budgeting. Lots of times that happens, so I've included a glossary to help people understand what the budgeting is. So I've got that, and then we'll get to the appendix here, and so here's a list of all the capital projects. When we get a new capital project, we bring those in. We budget for a current year and a 5-year model so that we can kind of plan out. This helps us to be able to get grants, so that if we have it in a future year, we can work towards getting those grants and other things. So you can see it based on the general fund and also each of the different enterprise funds. And then I'll come back to this report on the next public hearing. So I turn it back so that you can open the public hearing if you like. Ask any questions.
So this is an opportunity if you have questions about the budget and the budgeting process. We will take your comments at this point in time. So this is a public hearing because we're opening the budget. We won't approve the budget until next month. So questions, comments? Okay. Not seeing any. You totally understood every bit of that, right?
I would be interested if those that are shy now, if they do have kept up with budgets and if they like the narrative versus the Excel, I would appreciate that feedback. That's one. This is a significant change for my approach, and if there's people that like this better than others, I would certainly be interested in the public feedback. So
Certainly
anyway.
makes it more understanding. You need to come up to the front.
Quick question, just where do I find it?
It will be
On the agenda, right?
It's on the agenda as a link on the current
I don't see the
agenda.
link.
Yeah. So
Okay, I'll find it. If it's
There's no
If-
link on the public hearing portion of it, but if you go to the next item,
action item
it's
of
item number.
oh, farther down.
Yeah, it's further down on the agenda.
Far. Okay, thank you.
So, yep. And it'll be open for 30 days. But when we get to that one, then we'd ask that you adopt the tentative so that we start the process. But it's
Right.
kind of procedural. But the final won't be.
So that
accepted.
comes in the next portion of our meeting. Okay.
Do you want my feedback on it? Is that what you're asking, or are you asking the public's feedback on it?
But public hearing and public feedback if they have any, and it doesn't have to be tonight. They can just send it.
Okay.
But I take any comments between now and the next 30 days. So anybody can send me a comment on the budget. If you haven't read it tonight, that's okay, because this is the introductory. And then any kind of comments or feedback is taken over the next 30 days, and they can send that to me. Mine's on the first couple of pages in my letter. It should have an address that they can submit those to me.
Okay. Okay. So not seeing anyone making public comment on that, we'll move ahead to item number 4. This is municipality broadband, cable TV, and public transportation services public hearing. Providence City Council will be holding a public hearing to take comments and questions regarding Providence City's municipality broadband, cable television, and public telecommunication services annual report per Senate Bill 165. The report can be found in the tentative budget. So this is something that was passed in the legislature that we need to provide now to the citizens. So
That's right. So I actually think I'm probably the first one to do this. So I'm paving new grounds. It's not due until November. It does require a public hearing now, and then it will also require a public hearing in 30 days. So we'll have another one just like this. So we'll go through this all again next, but that's the requirement. And I've tried to embrace what the legislature requires. And so that's what this is. So I should have brought it. I truly have a crystal ball in my office. If you ever need help evaluating, I do have a crystal ball in my office, and I have been trained in how to read through a crystal ball. So, but it's very fuzzy when we get out 10 years. So the legislature has asked that we project out 10 years worth of data, and on a fairly short history, we've had a full year's worth of history, and to project 10 years worth is beyond what my crystal ball really is clear on. So please don't hold me to the numbers of
It's
of 10
fuzzy?
years. It is fuzzy out that far. Yeah. At 5 years, it starts to get really fuzzy. So, but anyway,
Ryan, it says that this is on Appendix B.
yes. And I've pulled up Appendix B here. It's in the budget in Appendix B.
What page is that on?
It is on page 58 of 63.
Okay.
So I have kept it to
What I was
one
looking for.
page so that it's consolidated in there, so that it kind of, what this does is it shows our tiers of service, shows the price and the previous year's price and the current year's price. So we've had no price increase. Shows the coverage by what our coverage area is, and how many we figure our coverage area by household and by business. And then we put that into how many subscribers we have, how many additions we've had from the prior year, and how many we expect each year. So a net change. And then the revenue that we expect out there. And then it kind of gives the expenses. So similar to what we did in the budget. So I showed you an enterprise fund budget. This is the same numbers from that budget, projected out, and then projected another 5 years beyond what our budget projections are. So it shows the prior year, what we had, what's current so far, and what our budget and projections are. It also asks to report on debt service delinquency. We have no debt service delinquency. So we've paid all of our debt. And, no payment covenant defaults. We have none of those. Unscheduled reserve fund draws. We have none of those. Adverse tax opinions. We have none of those. Credit rating change. We have none of those. We do have an A- credit for the city, which is great for a city of our size.
Are these topics that the legislature gave us?
These are topics they required us to report on. So I'm reporting exactly as they required me to report. These are not ones I made up. These are ones they said that they wanted us to report on. So I'm reporting exactly as the bond call, we have no bond call. Tender offers, we have none. And private debt placement, we have none. So this is the summary that I believe they asked for. I do believe I'm probably the first to report on it. So I'm paving new ground and trying to see if this will work. And then we'll come back in June and present this again. There probably won't be much change, I don't expect. And then in a year from now, when the law changes again, we might do something different. But that is where we're at today.
So what
I'm-
do you have? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just curious who collects this report, because I know our housing report is collected by Workforce Services, so I'm just curious what the connection is.
Just
Just
report
have
it
to
to
do the
public.
report.
Okay.
I've put it so it will be submitted with our auditors, and it could be submitted with our audit report or our budget report. So we'll send it to the state auditor's office as part of our budget probably, and so we could send it that way.
Do you know, I'm wondering if we ought to share this with the Utah League, just so that they see what they've asked us to do.
We certainly can, but at this point, that really hasn't been worked out, I don't believe. Nor is the consequence if we don't has been worked out. So, but we're working on it. One more report asked for, completed,
And delivered.
but it will make I mean, I hope it helps somebody in some way. But we do expect continued growth, a very healthy fiber program, and we have a great system that works extremely well for our residents, for our city, for our water department. So anyway, there.
Good thing you're dang good at reports.
And that he's a spreadsheet geek. We like that.
I turn it back to you to open it to a public hearing if anybody
Okay.
has questions.
Anyone have questions, comments?
It's about the same as yours.
Okay, we get crickets.
Yeah, in 30 days you'll get to do it again if you want. So
Well, after you've read it and digested it, in 30 days you can come and ask questions, right?
And go out and explain it to your neighbors so they understand that they can come and ask questions too, please.
Okay, so having no comments, we'll close that portion of the meeting, and we will go to item number 5. This is for possible COG projects for program year 2027. So the things that the projects that we're talking about would not be built until 2027. Providence City Council will take comments and questions and may direct staff regarding the application of possible COG projects for program year 2027. Possible projects include, but are not limited to, street updates on 300 East from Center Street to 200 North, including a roundabout at 200 North. So Ryan, you want to talk about those projects?
yeah, I'll just talk about this project. So COG funding is a changing item. What we have is we have phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4 type and spot improvement projects. Best points are on phase 1 projects, then phase 2, then phase 3. As I understand, the 300 East from Center to Spring Creek Parkway is listed as a phase 2 project. So that scores well. The belief and what we've heard and kind of planned in our transportation plan is a roundabout at 300 East and 200 North. And so we're looking to have that. We've taken out the house that was there. So we've removed it. We have a couple of power poles we've talked to Rocky Mountain Power about moving. And so we would look to put a roundabout in there. And this would be to try to improve that road going towards the south. That we figure that's where we have the right of way already acquired. We would look to take that to the south. 2 other projects that are higher on our master plan list are the roundabouts at First North and Second West and Third South and Second West. But Second West is a county road, and we're still working to try to figure out how those are. So those aren't able to make priority list. So the next one we would have is this one on our priority list. And so we're looking, and it might only be a block to the south. We might get 2 blocks. There is some things to figure out, but we haven't started engineering. This is just to say, hey, this is a project that we may apply for funding on. We may apply this year. If it doesn't work this year and we get some design, we may go to next year. But this would probably be our next project to apply for COG funding on, unless the public has another more pressing spot, and we're welcome. The COG requires us to have a public hearing, but we want to have public input. And so this would be the first start of that before we go anywhere else. Just as a piece of information, our current COG project is 100 South between the first south roundabout and the highway. And we're still working on finalizing some right-of-way and before we get that. So that will be our project to build this coming year. And then this would be apply for this year, design, finish design, and build in the next one. So anyway, that's kind of what we're looking at. So anyway, any questions of other projects or question about this project? But I turn it back to you to hold the public hearing.
Okay. So this is a public hearing. You've heard the projects that we're proposing. If you have other projects that you would like us to consider, this is the COG money is for increased growth and capacity on the streets. And so we'll take comments if anyone is interested in making comment about this particular item. Okay.
Email comment?
Oh, I'm forgetting to ask you that, so thank you.
This is the only one that came in. This is from Darcy Reese. I'm in favor of a possible COG project on 300 East from Center Street to 200 North, including a roundabout. I'm also in favor of adding missing sidewalks at the same time as the street improvement.
And that's 300
That's
E.
the project that we
Okay.
listed. She's ready
Okay.
in support of that, and I including that we would want to do sidewalks. COG oftentimes we do.
Let us include that.
Yeah, let us do that for those kind. So sometimes we have maintenance ones that don't include sidewalk, and we do sidewalk separate. But in a COG project, we would hope to do that. So that is
Great.
in line with what we'd like.
Okay. So not seeing any additional comments, I'll close that item and move on to resolutions and ordinances. This is item number 6. Providence City Council will review, discuss, and may take action on ordinance 02-2025, which, if approved, would rezone parcel 02-096-0035 from mixed use to
Highway, commercial highway district.
it's commercial highway district. That's right. Sorry. And
RM18.
so it would be 2 zones that we would do that. So 1 acre would be the commercial highway district and the other would be the RM18 on the 1.5 acre, which is generally located in the area of 440 West, 300 South. Planning Commission held a public hearing on this rezone on March 12th and recommended the City Council that they approve the rezone request. So Scarlett, this is yours. So if you'd like to take the floor.
So the applicant is here tonight as well. This was you had this on your agenda shortly after the Planning Commission made their recommendation. And then you wanted to consider it longer. So I can go over the analysis a little bit if you want, or since it's already been through the public several times, if you want to just move right to the applicant, that works too. I'm good either way you want to do it.
Let's let the applicant share what he would like, unless there's something different about it that you want to share.
No, it's currently zone mixed use. And
The
for
whole parcel.
The whole parcel, for the public to know what mixed use is. That's a mix of residential and commercial businesses that can include retail businesses. It can include doctors' offices, accounting offices, any type of commercial. The that we allow in our commercial general district can be included in the mixed, or is available in the mixed use. The only thing about a mixed use district is that there are some percentages that have to be considered so that we get an appropriate mix of residential and commercial businesses. So that's what currently exists there. It's probably one of the most, as far as variety of permitted and conditional uses, it's probably the top one. It doesn't allow for single family detached, but it allows for just about everything else. So it's a pretty broad zone. What the developer is asking to do, or the applicant is asking to do, is to, instead of having the whole piece be mixed use, to have the south piece, or excuse me, the north piece that's closest, that's adjacent to 300 South, have that be our commercial, B-zone commercial highway. And that's what this whole piece was originally zoned, was commercial highway. Then the applicant went to mixed use, and now they're thinking that maybe options would be better if the north portion that's adjacent to 300 South be changed to commercial highway. And commercial highway also deals with percentages, but it's percentage of retail to non-retail, or sales tax producing versus non-sales tax producing. The zone itself is designed for sales tax producing businesses. And so 88% of the unit square footage has to be devoted to sales tax producing businesses. There can be about 12% that is non-sales tax generating. And then the south half, that portion of the property, they would like to have as residential multifamily with a maximum density of 18 units per acre. So that's what the RM 18 is. That could be townhomes, condominiums, that type of thing. So that's kind of the gist of what is being asked tonight.
Ryan, do you have any comment?
I probably have some comments, and I think that there's a lot of great use in what there is. I think there was some confusion with maybe what could be done with mixed use. The mayor and I have visited with the applicant, and you know, I think there's a lot of great benefits with what the mixed use zone is, and we have some good opportunities with it that we're seeing grow. With the next meter and the townhouses there, that's mixed use. We've had a few. I support that if mixed use is kept, I'd love to see that. The Planning Commission did recommend splitting those, and so obviously they had a different view of that. And I just remind you that the general plan, as we look at commercial highway and commercial use, this is close to our commercial, the highway that runs through us. So there is some value in having maximizing the commercial you have along that. 300 South is, other than First North, 300 South is our next busiest street, other than East-West Street, and then we have the highway, and so it's really close there. So I would tell you, you know, we have our general plan, and we are looking to be able to grow commercial along that. So I appreciate the applicant is at least leaving some of it commercial, but anyway, that's probably what I have. So I'm gonna give the applicant a chance.
Kent, do you have anything you want to say? Come on up.
First of all, I'd like Nicole to come up and I'd like her to give my presentation for me. She's a heck of a lot better than I am at doing this. and
Very
it's a lot
enthusiastic,
more
isn't
fun to
she?
listen to. Yes, I did meet with Ryan and Scarlett, and I appreciate those of you that responded to my request to meet with you and sit down and spend time with me regarding this. I did meet with Ryan and Scarlett, and mixed use sounds good, but when you look at the details and the restrictions on square footage, on commercial and residential, it just doesn't work because of the size of the building that would need to be built up front on the 1 acre parcel. A building like next use or next meters would need to be built 25,000 square feet or larger, and I just simply don't think that there's room for that size of a building in this area. And so we would like to make a concession if we could. We would still like to ask for highway commercial on the front 1 acre and RM12 on the back part of the property.
18.
The property.
It says 18
It
here
says
in our
18, and
note.
we would concede to 12 if that would be granted to us. That would allow, according to Michael Taylor at Civil Solutions, 15 multifamily units, townhomes. And then the front would be highway commercial. The frozen yogurt restaurant has come back to us. They're looking again. They would like to relocate to Providence. And there's also been a power sports store that has come back looking at that property. He sat down with Scarlett a week ago to see if that would work. And so those would both be sales tax generating. We feel like we're giving up on the zoning, going down to 12 units per acre, and giving up what Ryan has said would be multiple uses under mixed use, and restricting ourselves to sales tax generating with highway commercial zoned up front. So we're trying to be a good fit in Providence City and give Providence what they would like.
I have a question.
Go ahead. I was just going to open it for the council to discuss.
So I have a question for Scarlett or Ryan. When I like the concession. I like that mixed use incentivizes a significant amount of commercial space. With making that change, would it be better to send it back to the Planning Commission?
Making which change?
Well, from 18 to 12.
No, I think the Planning Commission, that's still within the realm. And for the public, RM12 is what the townhomes that are just
Adjacent.
to the east,
Mhm.
Fox Hollow townhomes. That's the density that they are. So that's what it would look like. But procedurally, you would not have to send it back to the Planning Commission because it's still in that realm of multifamily. Given the number of units, given some of the sensitive area, I don't know if you could get much more. Did you say 15 units, Kent?
15 units on the
Yeah,
back acre.
even if it was RM18, I
still
don't
might be
know
that.
that you could get many more units because of the constraints of the piece of property.
The
Now, you may be
wetlands
able
there
to
or
get a few
something.
more, but I don't think you would get a lot more.
Okay, so it wouldn't be required to send it back to the Planning Commission. Would it be a good idea?
That's hard for me to know. It's always nice to have the commissions on board with the decision. But again, we also we don't want to delay applicants' time either,
Right, especially if they have commercial that's approaching them,
which they do.
which we like to hear.
So
About-
no, I don't think it's required. It would be more of a courtesy, I think, to send it back to them and get their input. So Ryan, you might have a thought.
Yeah, the adjacent property is, like she said, RM18 or RM12 to the east, commercial to the west of it. On RM18 is a concession, but I don't think it'd have to go back to planning commission. Because they've approved a bit higher of that density, and it's in line with multifamily in the back, so I don't think you'd need to go there. So
I have a question.
yes.
Are we creating a zoning subdivision of land? In other words, we talked about commercial highway general. We talked about mixed use, and now we're coming in and dividing the property significantly between highway commercial and residential of one type or another. Are we creating a subdivision? It seems like with zoning, we're trying to change or step over subdividing the property and having the proper things done for a subdivision by just changing the zoning.
That's a very valid point. If I can answer that, Mayor, it's a very valid point. The chicken and the egg that is present is if it's to be rezoned, the only application of rezone would have to come in under the current zoning. Yes, sorry. If they are to subdivide, the subdivision needs to come in under the current zoning. So if the idea is to rezone it, then it's a chicken and the egg. If you rezone, then they can do the subdivision based on that zoning. But if they do a subdivision now, they need to do it based on the current zoning they have, which you could require and say, hey, do the subdivision now, split it. You know that you have two different lots, split the subdivision, do that process, and then come back and do the rezone that you have it completed. So that could be an option. And then they could come back and apply for those rezones when they know the boundary of the parcel. So that would be a possible option to say, hey, do the subdivision under what you currently have, and then come back and do the rezone after they've subdivided. So it's possible.
I don't know of the things that all need to be thought through and worked out for access, water, sewer, whatnot. And so my question is the way it currently is, if someone decided to take a property and own that property, I don't know if that's the case or could happen, but lots of things happen down the road for one reason or another. One commercial person says, I want to buy that property. I won't put my business there, or something of that nature. Or someone takes the residential properties and leaves the commercial. Are we not thinking this clearly through as a more of a let's get it done type thing, to make sure we've got all our ducks in a row as the way it's being subdivided now, the way it should be subdivided versus just creating a zone here and a zone there. That seems strange to me.
Ryan, can I? Brent, on the 10th or 11th of April, we submitted a plan for a subdivision. This is the plat that was turned into the city. It shows 2 half-acre lots in the front, and it shows the remainder in the back. That's what we have sought. We're trying to do this legally and the way that we should do it. We're not trying to do it.
So has it gone through planning and zoning with the subdivision? Is that the idea?
Doesn't have to.
Part of the problem, Brent, is that what is required for a mixed-use subdivision is a pretty expensive process, because in order to do it under the mixed-use zoning, they have to show how they're going to meet all of the the unit square footage requirements. So in theory, they have to design out that mixed use development, and we require quite a bit of additional information. We ask for building design and exterior design. We ask for showing connectivity, all of that type of thing under a mixed use development. And so the application, while they submitted an application showing wanting to break that into 3 parcels, because it's mixed use, we have to make sure that those 3 parcels all play friendly together under mixed use. And so the application hasn't been able to go forward because now we're waiting for them to give us the additional information, which they probably don't want to give us that information, go to the expense of that information if we're going to turn around and zone it differently.
Do we need to, okay, I understand what you're saying. It's a problem to be able to go from mixed use to what we're trying to do now. Would it have been as much of a problem to go from commercial general to a subdivision, then rezone it to mixed use, and now we're going to try and rezone it to something else? This just seems like it's very muddy.
Brent, can I explain that? It was my misunderstanding of how mixed use worked. We went to mixed use so that we could get commercial up front and do residential in the back. But the square footage requirements don't make any sense when you look at it that way, of what has to be built in mixed use, which will allow multifamily in the back. I gave you an example last time I was here. If it was 1,000 square foot building built up front, we could build half of a townhome in the back because it's based on square footage, and not one use can be 50% greater than anything else. And so this way we see a better scenario. It's highway commercial. We sell it to someone, they do what they want. Multifamily, we've downzoned it from 18 to 12 in the back, multifamily, RM12 in the back, and it works. And we're not tied to each other's square footage of the footprint of the building.
The thing that concerns me about your example is that if we let go of the mixed use, are you going to put in 1,000 square foot, commercial? Because that's not the intent, like we want to incentivize commercial space.
I agree with that. And so does the developer who I'm representing. He wants to incentivize that too. We would love to have a power sports store. I don't know if everybody here would, but it's sales tax. We've also been approached this last week about a dry cleaner that could operate on that. But a dry cleaner doesn't build a 25,000 square foot building. Neither does a power sports store. And the power sports store could build their store, and if I recall correctly, Scarlett, they could also have a display area that would be included in the footprint. This allows highway commercial sales tax generating without limitations, and then something in the back for housing. It just seems to me to make more sense without the limitations that would affect each other.
Is this property connected to the townhomes to the east of it?
It is today, and I didn't give you that subdivision.
We have a picture of it on
I have
on
a
your
picture
stuff.
of it, yes.
This is the official subdivision to divide it. It's a different owner. One of the owners is the same. The group of owners that owns the townhome is not the owner of this property. It's only one.
Does that present a problem with access, sewer access, water access, and stuff like that? Because all I see is, and I don't know how wide that access road is, coming in on the west side of those townhomes and meandering and weaving through, and I know it's supposed to cross over, connect onto the other side where you started, some homes over there on the other side to the south. I guess my question is there a design there? Is that going to allow emergency equipment. Is that going to allow a fire truck to put out its outriggers and be able to put a fire out in by getting through there? It looks pretty tight to me to take and turn a ladder truck and head down into that subdivision.
If the city requires that, yes, that's what it will include. And the city will include that. They'll require it.
So Brent, the picture that you're looking at right now, we've reviewed it enough to say that it's an incomplete application. So we're still trying to get a complete application. So we haven't even really started the full-blown review process because we're kind of in, as Ryan said, we're kind of in that chicken and an egg process. If we were looking at this based on the commercial zoning and the multifamily zoning, and we knew that's what it was going to be, then we would start telling them, well, you've got to show us roads and connectivity and things like that. If it's going to be a mixed-use development, there's nothing saying that they can't swirl those buildings around through and have commercial up front, but also residential towards the front and commercial towards the back. And then we would look at, if they're all parking lots, we would look at it different than if it's an access drive back to us. It's just, we just don't have enough information at this point on the subdivision application to answer some of your questions. And
Scarlett, so if we rezone this as commercial and residential, they still come back to planning and zoning and they have the have everything
preliminary plat
approved through
does
the
go.
planning commission, right?
The preliminary plat
And
goes
they make
back
sure
to
they
them.
meet everything
Mhm.
according to commercial and residential.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
they still go through the so the zoning, while it feels like it's creating a subdivision, technically it is not changing any property boundaries. So no subdivision has been, if you were to approve the one parcel with the two different zones, no subdivision has been created because of that zoning. They still have to come back through and go through the preliminary plat process, through the planning commission, and then the final process, the final plat through staff and the construction drawings through staff. So there's still a lot of work to be done. It's just that we really don't know which rules to judge by until we know
rezone
which
it.
zoning we're going to implement.
Further discussion?
I just have a question, I guess,
Yeah.
for Ken, maybe. So you've said you're unable to do 1,000 square foot building and you feel like 25,000 is too big. In your mind, what's the ideal size and what?
That's the chicken and the egg also.
Yeah.
If we add up the 15 townhomes, the square footage of 15 townhomes, that would dictate what the ideal property would be on the front.
So the people who are coming to you to locate there, their buildings, I'm assuming, are going to be a couple of thousand square feet each, maybe?
I don't know. Power sports, I'm guessing maybe 4,500 feet, and a dry cleaner maybe 2,500. I'm not sure.
So you're looking around 6 or 7, maybe total 6,000, 7,000.
Mhm. That would be 3 townhomes.
Yeah.
And so with mixed use, Ryan was right, and he brought this up in the conversations. With mixed use, if it stays that way, the density is actually higher. For residential, we could get 33 units per acre rather than RM12.
Now, keep in mind, Kent, if you do a flat building and it's not 2-story, the other one is flat, correct? So both are the main level. So even if you had a second story, that doesn't necessarily count towards it. So when you talk about number of square footage, you're just you're just calculating surface square footage, not height. Not the second story on the townhouses. If you count if you count total square footage, like if you count a 2-story building commercially, then you can count that on both ways. But if you're just if you have your commercial as 1 story and that's all you're counting, then your townhouses are counted on the 1 story as well. So you could have a 2nd story on them, but count it. So it could give you, so if you had 10,000 square foot and you had townhouses that were 1,000 square foot on each level, you could have potentially 10 units for 10,000 commercial. You could have 10 units of a 10,000 or 1,000 square foot surface and a 2nd story. So 2,000 square foot townhouses. So you could have 10 of them to compare that.
We'd like to have 15 townhomes.
I understand. I'm just trying to make sure
Only.
that comparison was put there.
Okay.
Can I ask some questions?
Yes, please.
Scarlett, can you just walk me through the history of this parcel? Because when we looked at it in March, I don't know if it's the final plat or is it phase 3 or whatever, Fox Hollow, that was like a flag connected to this parcel. So was that subdivided off of it?
So what
Did it-
happened? This parcel.
Walk me through the history.
This parcel, and I apologize, I don't remember what the Champlin parcel number is, but the Champlin has Judges, and then all of the rest of the property surrounding Judges that goes to the south,
That fronts the highway.
that fronts the highway. This was part of that parcel. So,
Well, I think too, we need to remember that Champlin wanted to make that the same, commercial highway in the front and housing in the back, and then there wasn't enough room to do all of that.
right. And so that's what it was, Janelle. It was all commercial highway. It was all one big parcel. It was not connected to the Fox Hollow parcel when we first started seeing it. Then when they got their zoning change, when they purchased the property from Champlin, they didn't want to subdivide at that point in time because the zoning was still up in the air. So they did a boundary adjustment, and the parcel, which is phase 2 of Fox Hollow, got bigger, and this parcel, the Champlin parcel, got smaller. And so that's how it ended.
South side of the creek is phase 2?
Yes.
The south side,
Of Fox Hollow?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right behind the,
and so they were calling this Fox Hollow 3 because in the existing Fox Hollow, you have on the north end, you've got the townhomes that have been built, and then south of those, you've got the townhomes that are under construction now. And that developer starts construction and infrastructure on certain things before they record because of bonding purposes. So what happened was those owners of that piece that is Fox Hollow Phase 2, so east and south, they allowed this piece to be absorbed into their parcel. So it broke it off from Champlin's, and it became one parcel that kind of looked like, well, you had a square here and a little narrow part and then a rectangle. This is how it went.
Across
so
the
when
creek,
did that,
is that where it goes?
so when did that other piece get the plat finished, or
So then
phase
Fox
2?
Hollow Phase 2 had their preliminary plat, and their final plat, their preliminary plat was approved quite a while ago, and their final plat was approved. They were just waiting to record until they were ready for the way they wanted to do their financing. So they just recorded that on May 9th is when they recorded their final plat. But I'd have to go back and look when the preliminary and the final were actually approved on that. But it's been approved for quite a while. I mean, we've had signed construction drawings for a couple of months, 3 months, something like that. As soon as we got the plans back that made sure that the lift station could handle the amount, the Champlin lift station is working with Fox Hollow on the sewer. And as soon as we got the report back that that lift station could handle it and that there wouldn't be any surge that would cause any sewage backup further east, we gave them the green light on the construction drawings. So it was approved before they put these two lots together, I'm pretty sure.
So when it was recorded, that's when it subdivided off and wasn't two little I don't know,
Yeah,
See your
offset
plat,
squares, I guess.
your plat that you submitted in April.
And so when this was approved, it made it, when the plat of Fox Hollow 2 was approved, the planning commission decided they didn't want to require a connection. I mean, the 55 plus like dead ends into the back of Fox. I mean, was that a planning commission
When-
decision?
When the Fox Hollow Phase 2 was approved, this wasn't even being considered. This was still part of Champlin.
So, but the stub in the Champlin property on 580 West, that decision,
There's not connectivity between
there's
the
no
two.
connectivity between the two developments, and that was a planning commission decision.
Do you want to look at that?
That was a private property decision that the planning and the commission and the staff could not force. We really wanted to see that connectivity, but you
Yes.
were dealing with two separate property owners, two separate developments, and we couldn't make that happen.
Interesting.
We tried.
Okay.
We really tried.
So I have a question then, and this brings up another question. Maybe others would like to look at this. Are we talking 3 lots here?
3 lots.
There's no frontage for this third lot, the back lot. It has no access to road.
It does. The problem, one of the problems is it's history. It's Judge's driveway that takes some of it. We're proposing a 3-lot subdivision, Brent.
Yes, I understand that.
2 on the 300 North, 300 South Street.
On it, right?
What the plan is down the road is if we can get the 15 townhomes, can we use the road, existing road on Fox Hollow to access the back lot? That's the plan.
So the traffic from those
But it's
townhomes
not
will have to
even
go there.
part of your property. We would have to have some kind of a commitment.
You'd have to have an interconnectivity agreement, just like you've done in other places in Providence.
We'd have to have some kind of, at least in my opinion, we've got to have something that identifies that you've got access to that parcel between property owners so that that parcel has connectivity.
But that will be the next step.
Well,
That's not something we have to
I
do now,
write a
right?
blank check today. I need to have, I have a hard time as a council member approving a lot that has no connection to a public road.
Well, you're not
Approve.
approving a lot.
Well, they are.
Not approving a lot.
We're
You're-
doing it. They submitted a subdivision plat in April.
They have, and that's not the agenda item, because we can't bring that agenda item because that plat they submitted is as if you were to rezone tonight. If they had submitted a plat along with the current zoning they had, you could have probably been, planning commission probably could have been working on that, or at least staff could have moved it forward. But they chose to put the subdivision application under in the hopes that this rezone goes through, because the subdivision application is on a rezoned property, not based on the current zoning. So that's why it's stuck, because the application is stuck because it came in trying to do a subdivision
in mixed use.
In zoning of commercial general in the front and mixed use in the back, or residential.
Commercial
or
highway? Or
Commercial highway in
commercial-
the front and mixed, or a multifamily in the back. It didn't come in the mixed use, which they're currently zoned. So their application doesn't match their current zoning. So either the application has to go back, the subdivision application has to be rejected and come back as a mixed use subdivision application, or you rezone and then that application could potentially move forward. But as it is, it's stuck because it doesn't match the zoning that it currently has.
And if it is rezoned and the application comes in, he'll have to get connectivity.
It'll have all
and
that in it.
Everything will have to be approved at that point.
To subdivide it, you would have to show the connection and ability to go back there.
Yeah, they won't pass it if there's no agreement on connectivity. Or if you can't get back to the residential area, right? It won't be approved.
It shouldn't be approved with that.
Right.
Can I make a motion?
Yeah, public comment. I was gonna ask that, Mayor, if you wanted to ask public comment on this item.
Technicality Public has had the public hearing at the Planning Commission. You have a tradition of having it here, but that's up to the chair.
You have a city council,
Yeah,
paragraph 6.3 of the, hold on, sorry, of your own Providence City Council bylaws outlines exactly how this process in this meeting goes. You've done paragraphs A and B, you haven't done paragraph C, which is public comment.
I'll allow you to do public comment.
It's more than being allowed, I think it's entitled, but that's okay, thank you.
Okay.
We need your name.
Nate Worthen. I'm a resident of Providence City. We hadn't, you let me talk again in March when this was brought before the city council. First of all, I think Mr. Dunkley has done a very creative, he's basically invented his own mixed use plan. He said, your mixed use doesn't work for me, so I'll make my own. I'll have commercial highway in the front and I'll have residential zoning in the back, creating essentially a mixed zone development. It's very clever, and I'm not necessarily opposed to it because I do think it has connectivity to some of the adjacent sites if done properly. But Councilmember Speth, you're exactly right. Because final plat doesn't come to city council anymore, this is your last chance to have influence over this decision, because it's going to it'll go to planning commission, then it'll go to staff. It's not coming to this body again. So I think your questions about connectivity are spot on. In fact, in the zoning analysis on page, let's see here. This is page 18 of 22. Our own fire marshal says basically what Councilmember Speth said. The access between what appears to be two rows of townhomes appears to be approximately 250 feet in length. Dead-end access roads longer than 150 feet require an approved turnaround. Access for a fire department vehicle to get to within 150 feet of all the areas of the proposed buildings, townhouses, is likely inadequate and will need to be reevaluated on a future submittal if approved. I think you're right on. This application is, I believe, substantially different than what it was when it came to you in March and when it was presented on March 12th to Planning Commission. Not only is the parcel no longer 5 acres, it's 2.8 because of the approved subdivision for Fox Hollow 2, Phase 2, but it's also a different zone. And while it is a less dense zone, RM12 than RM18, the Planning Commission now has meeting minutes from March, meeting minutes from May from the City Council, public comment, and additional comments from Mr. Snow, the city manager, all to inform their decision the next time they deliberate. They didn't have any of that information going into their last deliberation. So I would recommend that it goes back to Planning Commission if they still endorse it the way that it is, because they will also have to see the plat with the access, with the infrastructure. That gives them a chance to sort of inform themselves about what the risks are of this new revised plan. Thanks for taking my comment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Worthen. I don't know if you called me clever or what, but I'm not a very clever person. And in one of your emails back to me in the last 2 months, it was hinted that I was trying to do a bait and switch. I'm not that kind of a person. I don't do that. I don't believe in that for myself or for other people. If we go back to the minutes in the March meeting, you'll find out that I was not representing a 5-acre parcel. I was representing 2.5 acres. If you go back to June 12th of 2024, when I was talking about Culver's Restaurant coming on that site, I used the exact same parcel drawing that you're looking at with the plat that I gave you tonight. No change, not 5 acres, 2.5 acres. It is what it is. We're trying to do the best thing that we think we can that benefits the city by sales tax generation and incorporates a residential formula for affordable housing in an area that we think is suitable, next to a car wash and by townhomes in a transition area of Providence. Thank you.
Mayor,
Thanks.
can I ask Kent a question? Can I
Yes.
just ask? So you've already met with the planning commission?
Yes, we met with them. It was unanimous.
How many were there?
I think it was a full commission. It was unanimous,
And
and not one person came to the public hearing.
I think there were
No-
5 people there.
No one at the public hearing, the
No.
full planning commission, you hashed through this whole plan.
Yes.
2.5
about, not
with the
5.
proposed commercial in the front,
Yes,
RM18 or 12 in the back.
yes.
And they all agreed that it should be approved, our planning commission.
Correct.
Okay, that's all.
Thanks, Kent.
So I've been watching some of the planning commission meetings, and it seems like the planning commission might be in a state of
Pass it on.
not doing a lot of research, just kind of listening to who's in the room, and if no one's in the room, listening to the developer. And so you might want to look at some of the what's going on with the planning commission. I have some concerns with not their ability at all. I think they're very competent. I just don't think they're taking as much time to look into it as maybe they should
Okay.
be.
That's good to know. They're
Yeah.
just kind of passing it on to us.
Yeah. I believe in voting along lines with the planning commission, and that's why I take their recommendations so seriously. But when they conflict with the general plan, that's when I really look at it. If it's in line with the general plan and in line with the planning commission, then it's not an automatic yes, but it's a lot easier. But when they're in conflict, I get concerned. And so I've been watching and just a little concerned about pushing things through without maybe the research that should be happening.
Okay, do you want to do a motion?
I do. I would like to make a motion that rezone the entire parcel as commercial highway district. Then the subdivision process can go forward. If the applicant wants to come back and rezone the back parcel as the RM 18 or 12 or whatever they want to ask for, I feel like that's a lot cleaner solution than the way it's currently being done. So that's my motion, that we rezone the entire parcel as commercial highway district.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any additional comments?
Can we make a motion to rezone it how we want, or, because he,
To change what the application asked for?
yeah, I mean, they came to us wanting a certain thing, can we just make a motion to?
Well, that's what Janelle has done. She's made a
He's
motion.
asking if that's appropriate.
Or do we
Oh,
just vote yes or no on what he wants? I don't know,
It's
sorry.
discretionary that you can,
Okay,
because you could also do in likewise, you could do, where he changed to the RM 12.
okay.
You could do that too, so.
So I guess
so we
would
have
we
a-
need the applicant's
Okay.
blessing
with
to change that?
The whole,
that what
the
you're
whole
asking?
thing to, yeah, like, he's okay with that?
Well, obviously he's not because he came with the other. So that's not part of the. So what we're trying to do is make a decision for the whole city. and what makes sense for the city, and comparing that to our plan to make sure that it meets our plan, and not zone and rezone and just come and go all the time on this particular piece has been through a lot.
Okay, there's been a second.
Okay, so we've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Did you have something, David? I thought you.
Oh, I think she cleared it up, but my question was, I believe the whole thing was CHD to begin with, right?
Commercial Highway
Originally.
District, yes, that's what
Before it
all
went
of
to
this
mixed
property
use.
was.
We're just, your motion is basically taking that back to its original state and in line with the general plan.
Right,
Right.
Yeah.
right.
Can you do that
Kent?
when that's not what I'm asking?
Yeah, when you changed the application for, you did the same thing to the RM12 in your presentation.
But he's the one asking. That's all I'm wondering.
Yes,
I'm
we
just
have the
I'm just
discretion to
asking
do that.
questions.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it
Yes,
clean
as a
if
council,
We can
deny
just.
it?
Okay,
That would be another option, is to deny it and have them come back to apply for something else.
I'm fine with that too.
I was just clarifying.
But
okay,
this
that's
one,
fine.
you have a motion, I,
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second.
you gotta double check the, so. Yeah, I think
I think we're ready to vote on the motion. Okay. So,
Can I make a discussion comment?
yeah,
And I know this wasn't what was asked for, but if the subdivision is currently in limbo because of the complexity of the mixed-use subdivision, I feel like this is a beneficial step for the applicant. Then he can subdivide it, then he can work on his commercial highway parcels in the front, and then
Maybe.
there's clear, recorded lot
Zone.
lines. And then we know exactly what we're approving to be something different in the back for housing. I know it's an extra step, but it's kind of a sticky, encumbered mess, and I think that would be the clearest path forward, but that's,
Leave it the way it is.
Public comments closed.
Nate, you're not up there.
Right, but there's
So be
rules
quiet.
about how these meetings.
this is not, this is not how we do it, so.
Exactly, you don't take any more comment. This is
You can't change what I asked for and zone it highway commercial. That's not what I'm after. And pull it, kill it. You know, you don't want multifamily.
You have to
The
come
applicant's
up.
Presentation time is closed.
It hasn't been closed, Nate.
Yes, it's right here. City staff, applicant, petitioner, authorized agent.
Janelle,
You did that. Closure of public
you're
comment
not
and
for
discussion.
multifamily,
Right here.
and that's been evident.
Point of order. This is.
You are
already
the-
made a motion. You can't take any more comments.
You don't want me to do, or the developer to do.
Nate, Nate,
You gotta,
Get him out of here.
please sit down.
But you're out of order from your own
Okay,
bylaws.
Go back to your home.
wait.
You have stated signed bylaws. And by
Who invited you, Nate?
I'm a member of the.
I
of
did
the
not
city. I'm a
reach
member
out to anyone specifically, Kent.
Yeah,
No, I did
just like
not.
last time too.
I did not invite anyone, and everyone's welcome at the
Just
meeting.
kill it, guys. Sorry. Thanks for at least trying to listen to me. Nate, good job again.
You
buddy.
have bylaws.
Good job
There's
again.
bylaws, that's all I'm saying.
It doesn't sound like the applicant wants an amended motion. I mean,
Which
a different
kills the
suggestion.
commercial deals. So I think what you were trying to do is help, but I can make another motion if we want to kill it.
so, just as a, yeah, you'd have to kill.
Procedural.
We have to kill this one first.
Procedurally, you'd have to withdraw this motion if you want to go to that, or you vote on this motion. And if it fails, you can have another one, or if it passes, then you move forward.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. We can take a vote on it. And then if that fails,
Then it remains mixed use.
Then it remains
unless you
mixed
make
use.
Another motion.
okay? So, all in favor?
my motion?
Yes.
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Doesn't matter, but
Okay.
on the record, nay.
But the motion carries. Okay,
That was commercial, right?
so it's,
The whole
it's
thing's
highway commercial now.
Highway commercial. Not
It
mixed
takes
use.
it back to the general plan, and he can apply for changes from there. But it makes it so that they can move forward with commercial if they choose.
They can move forward with their subdivision. It's not encumbered anymore. That's his decision, what he wants to do, so.
I would like to make a comment, if I may, regarding that. We are not against any type of housing that the city is doing. We have a general plan. We try and follow the general plan. And we personally try and accommodate as many people as we can for what they want to do. However, when it becomes a conflict and it's a problem, we have to solve it the best we can, because you have elected us to take care of your city. Yes, we're not popular, but we did what we thought was right by a popular vote.
It's true. Let's go on to the next.
We're back to budget. I'm so excited.
Okay, so now we're on item number 7. We opened the budget, presented it, or we asked you for your feedback. We didn't get any. So as we go, we need to accept the tentative budget for 2026, and then it will be open for 30 days for comment and changes. So I'll entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion.
Oh,
Oh.
So you do typically ask for public on the items throughout, like you say, if you have a public comment, save it until that item.
Mhm.
You usually do that. So I was just
Right.
throwing that out there if someone was here for this one, but I'd like
This
to-
one had a public hearing specifically
I,
for
I
it.
know, but
Early on.
so we don't, I just thought you'd ask, but
Yeah. That's okay. Clarification.
just clarifying again, sorry.
Okay, that's
But yeah,
fine.
go for it. Sorry.
Okay, so I need a motion.
I would like
did
to
you make
make,
a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve resolution 01-2025, fiscal year E. What does that stand for?
Fiscal year end. So that's
End,
the,
okay.
yep, it ends in June 30th, 2026 is the ending of the,
Okay, the 2026 tentative budget.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Let's go on to item number 8. This is fiber for the Highlands Phase 4 and pond cabinet construction bid. The Providence City Council will review, discuss, and may accept a bid for construction of extending fiber to the Highlands Phase 4 and beyond, including a new pond cabinet. So Ryan, you want to explain this one?
oh, I certainly do. So there is basically 3 methods that we could provide to the Phase 4 Highlands. We can take what's already available and utilize it. We have a system that's generally built for 1.5 fibers per existing spot. This is a new area, and so we could take what we have and have enough to use for that. But it would run us thin in that, and doesn't give us any growth for the next phases that are coming in the Highlands. Secondly, we could do what is called a splice and splice case, and that is putting it inside of a vault underground and having it encased inside. We do still split it, but we put that in the vault, and then to open that up, it's a bigger deal to open. The most consistent with what we we do have some of these splice in the splice case, but generally they're for runs and mainline. But it could be done, but the a little bit more expensive, but it does give us the most flexibility and most option, is to put in an extended pond cabinet for the expected growth that's going to happen within that area. Does cost a bit more, but it does bring in the ability for us to have fiber jumpers and the passive ability to utilize that area, and it would give us more capacity in that that southeast area. We do have 6 pond cabinets currently, so this would extend our capacity out in that. It would have enough capacity in there for all that's potentially built in the Highlands, and so this is a proactive way, but because of the costs, wanted to bring it to the whole the council to consider which of those options you want, and you know, this might the current what we've got in the ground will give us the first phase, but it won't give us phase 6, 7, wherever it goes. We'll have to do something eventually, so we can either choose to do that now, or we can wait, and it'll become required as we move down. We'll need more capacity to serve that area than we currently have. So that's what we're looking for.
Well, we already know that we're going to have the houses up there. There's a plan currently in place, but there's additional capacity for more homes.
Yeah,
beyond what's planned.
Well, what's planned is beyond what we have capacity for, because we didn't know what was planned.
I'm
when we
talking about
started
land
design.
capacity,
Yeah.
not fiber
Right, okay.
capacity. Okay.
So I looked out here and I see a budget of approximately $50,000 for this pond cabinet. On the next, you got 14,000 for part of it, 36,000, maybe 51,000. Where do we
So-
propose to get this money from?
So at this point, and I think that's a good clarification point. I think you're looking at the 36,000.
Yes.
And the second page is a subset of that, not
Is
in
the mirror-
addition to it.
Oh, it's not in addition to it?
So the 14,000 is part of the 36. So if you look at the last line of the 36.
Last line, 104?
Correct.
Okay.
That is, so it's not an addition, it is inclusive in the 36 number.
My bad. Where do we get the 36,000?
So we have cash that we have got from users, and we're building some of that cash, and we would utilize the cash that we have. We currently have a balance of around 650,000 in our account. So we would use the cash we have. So it doesn't come out of property tax or anything else. It's coming out of user fees that we've had.
From the Fiber Enterprise Fund.
Yeah, the Fiber Enterprise Fund. That's correct.
So it sounds like it's an investment in our
Yes,
future,
it's
using
correct.
some of our money that otherwise isn't being utilized right now to extend for the future.
That's accurate.
Sounds like a no-brainer.
Okay. So, questions, comments?
Yeah, I mean, if Kai's here to make a comment or anyone else, I'd be interested if he has an opinion.
I don't have a comment. I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
Oh, that's your comment?
Thanks, Kai.
Record that one down. Thanks.
I'm just curious, how many homes does one pond cabinet serve?
Well, it all depends on the different size of the pond cabinet, to be honest. So at that, I don't know whether it tells us the size of this pond cabinet. I think it does. I think this one has 400. I'm looking.
Install amount cabinet 432.
Yeah, I believe that's accurate.
432.
So
Oh,
it's
yes.
similarly sized to what we already have.
So some of the sizes we have are 600 to 700 size. So this is about half of a size that we have, because we won't need that many in that. So it's kind of a smaller one.
So we
but
look
it
at
is
the
a pond.
land capacity, which gives us the capacity for this pond cabinet, right?
Right. And if
Okay.
we needed another one, like we have on Gateway Drive, we put a second one immediately next to it, so we could also improve, double the size if we wanted, with a second one next to it in the future if we ever needed. But we think this will be the size that is sufficient for the area. So it'll give us 1.5 fiber capacity for what is intended to be built.
I like the capacity because as homes are built, people will look to us for their fiber. They won't have signed up for something else and then we have to convince them to take our fiber. So, all right.
I'll make a motion. Oh, do you want to, Gina?
I just wondered, in the future, how much of this is built into our development agreements? I know we currently lay conduit, right? And then I just know other pieces of infrastructure within the development agreements. So our stormwater and our curb and gutter and
Yeah.
all kinds of other things.
Those are good points. So we have taken the current approach that the amount that is what a private business would do, a Comcast, a CenturyLink, they would provide the conduit and install the fiber in the conduit and the PEDs and the vaults. So we're taking the approach that we're doing the same. We ask the developers the same as they do, is when the power trench is opened, that they allow us to put in our infrastructure into the power trench. And so they are opening and closing the power trench. And that is what we're asking them to do. And then we also ask them to install the conduit from the PED to the home and then have a run in the home. So they're doing the run in the home and they're doing the run from the home to the PED, and we're doing the main line. But they're opening and closing the vault.
So it's reducing our costs, really.
So because
to do it now.
Because we do it now, we'll be able to put in that conduit, and we would install the conduit and the fiber. So the difference that others do is they require the conduit to be paid from the developer, but the fiber and the PEDs are always going to be ours because we want our specific brand and model that fits our network.
Right, okay. My other question, this is an estimate, and Strata's doing this as our network operator?
That's
doing this
correct.
Okay.
And they're generally fairly good on their estimates. We have a lot of estimates. Every install and drop that they put in, they give an estimate like this, and they're fairly close to their number. But they'll have to
4 years
design.
ago, we might have questioned, but we've got a lot of experience
We're
on estimating.
Yeah, we're building a lot of experience with them. So, yeah, I expect that this will be very close to the number. So.
Okay. All right, I'll take a motion.
I make a motion that we approve item number 8, fiber for Highlands Phase 4 and the pond cabinet construction bid.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. The next one is fiber gateway installation construction bid. Providence City Council will review, discuss, and may accept a bid for construction of extended fiber to the remaining buildings at the gateway. So Ryan, this one's yours too.
So this one we have put in fiber to the curb here. We have put in the infrastructure that's in the roadway, and the main line is all in. What we had an agreement with Visionary when they were the in control of the HOA is we said when we have somebody that signs up, we'll put in the drop and we'll put the installs to each unit once we have a person that signs up for that building. The HOA came and said, hey, we'd like to finish off everything in the ground and just finish it off in it. So this is kind of a build it and they will come is the hope. So our Field of Dreams analogy. So at that point, this is doing a little bit more, that drop and install, investing that cost into it without an actual sign up at this point. Now, as we've currently done, we've just had install, drop and install if we have a sign up. So this is kind of a slightly different approach. So I wanted to bring that back to the council on this case. This is 3 separate bids to Brent's, see if I can answer Brent's question before he asks it. So this is a number of different bids for each of the buildings. So inside of there is 1, 2, 3, 4. There is 5 bids. The total that this would add up to is $15,797.68. So at that point, that would be the total approval. It would be putting in those 5. We don't currently have a connection. As I've talked to some, one of the conditions you might add to that is we would do it if they would, if the HOA would agree to put some type of information in their newsletter and have us or them put up door hangers so that they know that it's done and ready. And so I think that would be a great condition on this if we're doing it, that they would maybe at least make sure that they are letting their residents know that it would then be available.
So it gives us a marketing area
Yeah,
too.
we don't have a lot of marketing because our marketing is generally around signing up of new
ISPs.
utility fees. So as they come in for new utilities, we have an opportunity to be able to visit with them about our fiber, because they don't have that in the HOA. They don't see us on that signing up for utilities or not. So we don't have an opportunity to share the benefits of the fiber with them. So we need a little help to do that.
Would it be appropriate to have like a pre-sign up? I mean, I know before we actually began construction and fiber, we kind of took a straw poll around the community of what areas had the highest interest to prioritize installation. I think the marketing, the door hangers is great. I just didn't know if it would work to have them. I don't even know where we would collect that
Before we
information,
sign up?
actually.
Is that what you're saying?
Right. I mean, that's what we did when we very first did fiber construction, that we put it out there. People said they had an intent to install and they wanted fiber to the home. So we prioritized, well, with the exception of downtown, we did them first because we ripped apart all of downtown for new roads, which are like so smooth. All the long borders in town love them. But then we followed like the ranking as far as like the interest.
We're
in
talking
sign-up.
about spending $4,500? 75?
What's that?
15,000.
15,000 on this one.
Okay.
So just almost 16,000 on this one.
And how many
I just
units
have to
would
add 'em
that
all up.
service? Like 50?
Yeah, somewhere in there. I haven't counted that, so I didn't go through and count those. I apologize. I should have counted those before, but I didn't count that up. The issue with that one, I think that in the initial ones, we would rather, if we're going to go that way, we'd rather just wait for somebody to actually do. If they're going to commit, we'll do the install. So if they ordered service, rather than have a tentative order of service, if they just order service, we'd come in and do these anyway. So our current process would be to do these once we had somebody call and make an order. So we'd rather them just commit and make one. If we're going to go to making a tentative, we just say, just order service and put it in.
Is this a cost savings for us?
Do
it all at once?
It's a reduction of a hassle more than a cost savings. Then we're not there digging up their grounds and maybe digging into their sprinklers 5 different times. So that's probably the cost savings for us as we get it all done and we're done. And then we open up that those to all connect on and so.
Does it
anyway.
have, I mean, I'm trying to think about from the main lines at the street, right?
Main line is done in the street, and then we have it into a PED in the property, and
Within
then
the
we take
HOA.
from the PED and do the drops.
Okay, because I know when we did our fee schedule, if it's over 100 feet, then they pay the difference. Is that the case in any of these?
That would be, we would just times that by the number that would be included with that drop. So if it's 5 in one, So at that point, this first one is probably 5, I think. So the 2,500, that's $100. We're doing up to between 5 and 700 feet, $700, up to the $700. So 7 times 5, so the 2,500s would be less than that. So we would do that.
You'd spread the cost. Is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, that it would trigger that, and under that, because it's servicing that many equivalent, we would have paid for it. So yes, it would fit under that residential pricing. It's just, the real question is are we willing to do it prior to the sign up in order to hopes that they are there, or continue to wait as our original plan was? And since the plan's changing, I want to bring it back.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion.
Can I ask a question first?
Oh, you bet.
Just, I know we talked a little bit about this yesterday, and it seems like given current subscription rates, if it's sort of roughly similar, our break-even point would have been, I don't remember exactly. We kind of came up with a rough number, but it seemed to be fairly near term. It wasn't.
So if
way
we
out there,
have,
right?
let's take the first one at the 2,500. I think there's 5 connections to it. Let me make sure here. It has 5 units. So at 5 units for 2,550, I think we get. I think we calculated an 8.5-year return if we had one sign up for gig service. So then, for everyone we have, it kind of cuts that down. So if you had all sign up, then it pays it off in just over a year and a half. If it's only one that signs up, it pays it off in about 8.5. So much shorter than our main line would pay off.
But if you had like half, it'd be 3-4 years kind of
Yeah.
in that area. But I'm wondering too, if this may be beneficial for an HOA initiative to say, hey, everybody in all of these buildings, fiber is available. It's at the street. We'll put it in if you want to subscribe, and then we only pay for the ones that are signing up.
We have put it into their HOA clubhouse. We do have other buildings that are utilizing it. So I think as it comes, it will be utilized. And their interest is trying to get it so that they don't have us continually dig up drops to each of the different buildings. So that's their interest in asking. And I think it's a fair ask in my estimation. It's just because it's different, I want to bring it back, make sure that I'm not out ahead of you. So.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve item number 9, the fiber gateway installation construction bid, with the contingency that the HOA will promote the fiber that's been installed and also allow us to promote.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. We have Jesse Pace here. He's requesting a fiber installation. He lives in kind of a no man's land in between, is it Millville?
River Heights.
River Heights and Providence. And he's requested fiber installation at his home. Are you a county resident?
The home technically sits in the county, yes.
Okay. And it's 680 South, 770 East in River Heights. So, Ryan, you want to say anything?
Yeah, I'll just start. An introduction and why it's coming. This is a first for us of going outside of the city boundary. A few things that we know that it will be required. We know that a letter from the county, and we'll have to, because it's our first, we're still working on some of that detail, but I think he's aware. Yes, he's aware of that. We'll find in the right spot, and our attorneys reviewed this. Our attorney said we can, and the attorney has given us a few conditions. that we get a letter from the municipality or county that they reside in. We'll need a letter from them. So if we were providing in Millville or River Heights, we'd need a letter from that city to provide municipal service inside of their boundary. So one is a letter. Two is that they pay the same residential rate because we don't want a rate setting committee for the out of city rate of a 1, because that would certainly be an awkward rate setting committee. So we keep the same rate. So that's what our attorney has asked us, that we just maintain the same rate. And number 3 is that they would be responsible for the construction from our available fiber to them. So if he could run it in between the houses, if he can get a right of way between them, we'd do it there, or we can go up around. And I think he's gotten an estimate on that from Strata to do it. So at that point, those would be the 3 conditions from our side that our attorney has said, hey, if you have those, then he's okay. I'm certainly okay, but it does open a different precedence. It is we've been visiting for quite a while to try to figure this out, so I appreciate his patience. And so we're just trying to figure out whether it's kosher, whether it's debatable, what we'd have to do. So now it comes to you whether you actually want to allow our very first customer that would be outside the city limit, and if that's a direction you want to go. Really, any of them will come back to you to approve each time, because you get to do outside the city, and I'm bound within the city. That's what you've hired me to represent, is within the city. So any of these requests should all come to you. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at. He's here. Love to hear.
Would you
where
like
he
to
is, so
state, you want to plead your case?
He pretty much said it all.
you have to
Come
come to
up.
the front and talk into the mic. So
Thank you.
Your name?
Yeah, Jesse Pace. Thank you, Ryan, for your help. But yeah, we're just trying to get internet at our primary home. We've always been kind of in a dead spot. And so with the new homes that are going up right next to my house, it's really easy, seamless, hopefully, for me to pay for it and obtain the letter from the county to get it approved. So do you have any questions for me at all?
Why don't you come to Providence?
Roxanne.
That's what
Yeah.
he likes the county.
I like the
I
county.
know. I just really like the Paces. We were neighbors in River Heights, so.
Yeah. So yeah, you know where the house, it's just
Yeah.
Rod's old house just down the lane. It's right next to the River Heights Elementary School. There's 2 homes that are there. Anyway, I own both of them. We rent out the front one and then we live in the back one. So
And you do or you don't have internet already?
we do have internet right now. It's just, you could count it as that we don't have internet. It's so slow.
Not good.
Yeah.
Well, I won't ask the company name.
ours would certainly be amazing for them.
Yes.
If that's
Yeah.
the direction you went.
Yeah, and so thanks to Ryan's help, the county is prepped, and we'd get that letter. Obviously, we wanted to see. There's no point in getting the letter unless it was approved by you. So,
Do you want to do both homes?
I hadn't thought about it. The other home in front that sits right on the main road, that we just rent that out, and I'm pretty sure they're on Comcast, and they haven't had any issues between tenants.
But if you got the letter here, you could at least run it and connect. So this would be the opportunity if you have that.
Do a little marketing for us.
Yeah,
you-
if you want me to connect both homes, I can. If that changes your vote, Brent. No, I'm just kidding.
It wouldn't change my vote, but I just think, hey,
It's worth
Yeah,
considering.
the
It's
way
easy to
they
come once than twice.
Right, the way they sit, it's kind of like a football field. The 2 homes, it's on 4 acres.
Oh,
So
it's a long.
yeah, it's long, and so the house is.
But you're in the back.
Yeah, I'm in the back.
But
so the
we would
house,
come through the back.
I think I'd have to get 2 easements, so I'll have to get an easement from my new neighbors, to connect to my
Visionary?
house. Visionary, yes, and then another easement for the home that's further north. Yeah.
it wouldn't change my vote.
Well, I'm just glad that we've gone through legal. I know that was my main concern is how that looks servicing outside of our municipal boundaries. It seems like that's been addressed, so.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 10, fiber installation request from Jesse Pace.
Okay. We have a second?
I'll second that.
Just to make sure that I've cleared, those three conditions
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
are
Contingent.
included with that motion. Would that be accurate? Just want to make sure for
You want
the
to
record
include that in
those-
your motion?
Condition.
Letter.
The
So
the
that-
letter from the county,
And then I pay for it, right?
pay for it,
And the same rate.
and the same rate.
That was my intention.
All right.
Thanks for trying to get me
Yeah,
a
that's
better
what you
deal.
meant.
We own that, right? We own the infrastructure.
We would own the
We own the
infrastructure.
infrastructure. Okay.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Woohoo.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
So if we can work it out to get the other home on that, it would be great.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. But we won't make it a condition.
Okay. I'll just work and
Get
I'll
with me,
submit
yeah,
you the
we
letter.
can-
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you.
3 hours for 2 minutes.
Yeah. He's a patient man. Okay, we don't have any study items. Let's quickly do the staff reports.
I'm not sure anybody wants to hear more from me than what I've already reported on. But I
We just
will-
only want to hear the wahoo moments.
I think we have a great success with sidewalks, and it shows our commitment to where we're at. If you saw up on Canyon Road, we had a problem that a neighborhood had. They were concerned.
Safety of children was an issue.
Safety of kids walking on there, walking along there. If you haven't been up to see the completion of that between the subdivision and the school,
The church.
It's
the
between the
church,
church,
the church and
the corner.
that corner there, that project has been great. We worked with the property owner, we worked with the adjacent residents, and we put in and widened that road there. We fixed the driveway. We put in a sidewalk. I think if you didn't know that project had happened, you'd probably take it for granted that it's probably already been there, always been there. But that's the kind of project we think does well for us. We got a concern. The neighbor had been flooded out with water. They let us know their concerns. Some of the neighbors did. The resident that it went in front of donated the right of way for us to do it. And that project has completed very well. And we want to make sure that we complete good projects and do a good job. And so we have that. We have.
Can I just say that people in the neighborhood were ready to get a petition and to kind of railroad these people. And we went in and had a conversation with them. They were very accommodating, and we just had to explain to them what it was and what we needed to do. And it worked out really well. It could have been really an ugly situation for them because of the anger that was directed toward them from the neighbors. And so it's been a great project. It looks really nice.
It does. It looks really nice. I think I'm proud that we were able to get that one done. The other project that is moving along is the sewer lift station. We're making good progress there. Our contractor has been great to work with. Geneva has been great to work with there. They've been really mostly ahead of schedule. They should complete theirs maybe within the next 2 weeks for the site work, and then the electrician will come in. Our goal when we talked with Blackstone and we committed to take this on, we told them we could accomplish by June 30th, and we still expect that we're on time with that and with our contractor and everything else for a $1.5 million project that was $750,000 over budget. We brought that in. We've made it work, and that project is going to turn out extremely well and provide future capacity in the on the west side of the highway. It opens up the whole west side of the highway eventually. So that's a great project for us. So we've got that one. I appreciate the support of the community on the cemetery. That was one that was unfortunate. It's an act of God that came in, took down a number of trees, 5 trees at least. We have another the couple that we're having to take out because it weakened them, and so we want to take that. At this point, those pine trees are reaching the end of their life. As we dig around them to bury graves, we have to cut roots to do that. And so we're looking at what future we have and how we make sure that that's a beautiful cemetery. But we want to make sure that we're proactive in the safety. We would have been saddened if something happened to somebody that was there. And the cemetery is a busy place. We have a lot of people there visiting those loved ones. But we take great pride in it. And we appreciate the patience and the concerns that the public has had. Going into Memorial Day is our busiest day and busiest week at the cemetery. And we have done our very best to make it look as good as we could under the circumstance. But there are a few stumps that still need to be ground down. There is some sod that still will need to come in at some point. But God made one thing, and we're going to make it as good as we can. And so we appreciate the patience and care that we show to that cemetery. So anyway, it means a lot to us, and it does to the staff. We've done that. We're continuing. I will tell you, I as part of my report, I attended the Waste Expo in Las Vegas with our Public Works Director. And I will tell you, we went to a lot of classes and we talked a lot of trash. But you know what? AI was in every class. The growth and being able to understand what is coming down the road certainly helps our crystal ball to be clear when we know what's coming. And a lot of those conferences give us that foresight in knowing what's coming. We don't have to be on the bleeding edge of things, but we certainly can be on the early adoption if we want and need. Some of those things, it allowed cameras to monitor what was dumped, to identify lithium batteries. And if a lithium battery is dumped in a garbage can, it has a high chance of being able to create a fire. That fire will burn within inside of that garbage can, and if not caught, it can burn the truck and completely decimate the truck in a very short period of time. And so AI can watch that. We can put AI and sensors on the truck, and it can tell us the best fuel efficient and maintenance routes. The ability that AI is coming down the road is amazing, and some of those things you wouldn't expect AI to be as so ingrained into the garbage business. It was an eye opener, and it certainly is a big piece of the future in garbage. But we're learning that and coming along that. In another couple of weeks, the Public Works Director and I and Janelle and our supervisor in the water and fiber and sewer, we're going to go back to Nashville, and I expect we'll have a similar experience in going through and learning by a fire hose what is coming down the road, and help us to know how far behind we are and how far ahead we are, and what the future may hold for those that are ahead of us, and it's exciting. I've seen some on the planning side. There is AI coming to do some of the planning and some of these initial reviews. They're doing it in Australia and Canada and some in Europe, not much in the United States yet. But it's coming down the road that in another couple of years, we'll start to see implementation in a lot more things we do in building permit or in building review, in plan review, and a lot of that. So there's a lot coming. We're working on right now. We're working on striping and chip seal routes and some of the regular maintenance. Those are items that we look and we'll evaluate based on current condition. And so then we'll identify those. We have remaining lives to them that we look at, how long we've been there. So the public should prepare for first probably a chip seal project that will be fairly large. We're hoping to have a fairly large chip seal project. We realize that not everybody loves that. But we're looking to cover some of the scar that we have for the mastic, which chip seal will help us to do for long-term of those roads. And a long-term maintenance of our roads. So we will see a lot of chip seal. We're probably expecting this summer probably $500,000 worth of chip seal projects.
Just how many miles?
I don't have that calculation off the top of my head. That's a good calculation to have. If everybody drives at 25 miles an hour, nobody will lose a windshield.
Okay.
If they drive at 45 miles an hour, everyone behind them will lose a windshield. So you drive the speed limit in this town and you'll be fine. You drive above the speed limit and either you or the person behind you will lose a window.
Perfect. Good incentive.
So drive the speed limit is the absolute necessity on a chip seal. And if it's stated lower, drive lower. Drive that stated speed limit and you won't have a problem. You speed on it, you will have a problem and we won't pay for it because we'll know you speed. So, because that's what happens.
Perfect.
Having been in the chip seal business for 20 years now, I can tell you that that's going to happen. Everybody that has one, somebody either in front of them or they were speeding on that route. Because at 25, you shouldn't have that. But at 45, you definitely will.
Someone in front of you is speeding.
You shouldn't be keeping up.
If you're not speeding, you're falling back.
Well, you're tailgating too if you're
So,
that close.
Anyway, so at that point, but we will. So be prepared, be patient with us. This is how we maintain such a large asset that we have in our roads. So be patient with us, but we will be painting a lot after that. So anyway, the recreation is going well, and we have signups. I always love to see, if you haven't been out to a USU baseball game in Providence, I think it's pretty darn awesome that USU plays their baseball games in Providence. So I think it's a pretty darn good, awesome thing.
They are trying to get the national club team national
Need your microphone.
Competition, the championship.
here for 2026.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
we're excited that we might even have more. We certainly take pride in Zollinger Park and all of what it has to offer. So we're working on various things. Ty, do you have anything to update on the elections or anything else?
No, just perfect with you.
Okay.
How's our
So-
justice court doing, Ty?
Good. Same old. Still seeing a little down in citations. I'm sure I'll pick up come summer. More speeding in the summer.
And we have our code enforcement officer out there trying to make it a little bit more proactive than reactive. We used to run mostly off of complaint driven, but we are trying to help in that proactive approach and help educate and enforce as it goes that way. So the state changed the bike lane rule. We were a slow and a soft implementation there, and we were taking that to learn and to develop, and the state jumped completely to enforcement. And so that can be done. We wanted the public to know that we weren't driving that, but it is possible, so be aware. We did have some confusion up on center. We have tabbed that one to show where the lines were supposed to be done. When the lines were originally done, they were marked, instead of being marked where they were supposed to, 5 feet from the travel lane, they were marked 5 feet from the edge of the
Curb.
asphalt. And that road jogs in and out. So they painted it wrong. We thought, hey, a year, that paint will, a year or two, that paint will kind of fade out. The center line and the travel lanes have faded, but that one along the side, the one we wanted to fade out is the one that didn't. The ones we didn't
No one's
have.
driving on that
So anyway, it is what it is. But we're certainly working hard and trying to make the best. And I appreciate everybody staying for the budget. I love to have this many that were interested in staying for the budget. And, you know, it is so, for a guy that is your, yeah, as a CPA, went to school for that. I realize not many comments.
That's
but-
your stage, right?
But that is my stage, and I may not do a great job at the stage, but I sure appreciate. I'm gonna claim everybody that stayed just to support the budget, and I'm gonna take that. Just don't tell me different if you didn't stay for that, but sure means a lot, and I appreciate people that will.
They don't
So,
say anything.
yeah, if that's not why you stayed, don't tell me. But I'm just gonna assume that you stayed for that, and thank you.
Don't
you
ask
for
and
the-
they won't tell.
Yeah, thank you for the public for supporting the staff and the council. We love our public and love to serve them. So thank you.
We
And if I have
also-
any questions, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
We've also got reduced speed on Highway 165.
We're working on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Not
working
as
on it.
not as far as we want to go, but
But past the light.
barely.
That's what the sheriff tells us. It hasn't happened
It's
yet.
past the light. We're golden. Oh,
It hasn't happened yet, but it's coming, and UDOT has agreed that they would do it. The sheriff tells us that in his meeting he went for that, and so that should.
He
be
shared
coming.
with them just
the
how
highway,
difficult
so
it
we
is.
don't have to wait for that turning light.
There will be several things that will help.
Yeah.
So, anyway, any questions you have for me?
When you do your new definitions, be sure and explain F and R, because I sure didn't know what it was.
Yeah. I was looking, and there is
Is
a
it in
spot
there?
that it calls out F&R in the fund structure. It is finance and records, but I will add it to the.
Well, you're dealing with a
glossary.
dummy here.
No, that's all right.
You got to put out as much as you can.
Yep, I'll add that in the glossary. I have that.
Put it in
noted, so-
red, will you?
We'll do it. We'll do it. Anything else?
Thank you.
If not, then we have one closed session item to discuss. If you're done with the staff reports and questions, then I just wanted to let you know that we have that item.
Yes.
Can I make a motion? We go into closed session.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Okay, we have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
Aye.